Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Media Buffet podcast. I'm your co host, Matthew Fletcher.
And I'm your second co-host, Kendall Bynes.
And today we're going to be discussing our favorite TV shows and movies from 2022, along with some honorable mentions and recommendations for each other. Before we get into it, though, be sure to follow us on all social media at Media Buffet Pod. We have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you have any questions or suggestions for us, feel free to email us at mediabuffetpod@gmail.com. And with that, we're ready to get into it. So we're going to start off with our top 10 TV shows. Would you like to start us off, Mr. Kendall?
Sure thing. And I just want to say, Kubo, forgive me, for ranking this, so low on the list.
Oh,
Well, actually,
should we preference real quick? It's animation, anime, live
yeah,
action, just everything
yeah,
throughout the year. Yeah.
it's
No,
TV
yeah.
shows, so that
TV
could be
shows.
anything. When I put this together, I didn't have, it wasn't in a top 10 list. Again, this was just, what I consumed and what I thought were like the 10, not like in any order. But again, forgive me for having this so, early on in the list, but I believe that everybody should watch this. But you got to start with the first series first. And my first entry is Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War. I mean, what can I say? The art style, the music. It's just a masterpiece from start to finish. And it's just hilarious. Especially if you see what I have as like now again, I don't have these numbered, but what's in the number one spot. It's just hilarious. You'll see why. But everybody had been waiting on Bleach. Everybody like they were starting to lose faith because when you see stuff like Hunter x Hunter go on hiatus for so long, it's like, well, I don't think they're ever gonna pick it up. And I think a year ago, or now 2 years ago, one of the production heads down there at Shueisha and was it Shueisha? Studio Period or whatever, had actually died. And usually in Japan and stuff like that, when a voice actor, somebody heads of the studio, something like that dies, usually they axe production just out of respect. So everybody was like, "Oh man, Bleach is probably not going to get that final season picked up," even though everybody had been waiting on it. We had rumors and stuff like that. So to finally see it get picked up, they said it was going to be uncut, and I've already seen some stuff that was cut. But again, it's been like years since it's been on the air. So to finally have it come back with English dub, I'll watch it in sub just because it's faster. It comes out the day of, or at least the day after. Um, Everybody's back, at least that I know, in the English dub. We did have one voice actor die, and that was for Kisuke Urahara. But I mean, you can't. He's dead. You can't really do anything about that. But like so far, yeah. Shiro Sagasu, I want to say I pronounced his name right. He's still doing the music, and he's done remixes to his original tracks from the show. And if you know me, like music is, like I said the other day, music is a big thing for games, and it's also a big thing for setting the atmosphere in animes, TV shows, and stuff like that. And the music here, if you watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, you know who this guy is. You've heard his work before. He puts the OSTs in there. He knows exactly what the he's doing. So Bleach, number 10. Not number, but this is my first entry, so it would be the number 10 spot.
Right. It's a great pick. I'm still not through the original. I've just watched so many other things, but even I noticed the hype for this new chapter in Bleach. So I think it's a great pick. My number 10 is anime as well. It's Chainsaw Man. Um, I've not completed it as well, but just everything I've seen is just like everything I want in an anime. It's like a really unique story. The art style is so pretty to look at. That's weird to say, but yeah, I'm just having a really good time with it. And just the few episodes I've seen, it's already on my top 10 of the entire year. So that's saying something.
Yeah, that's hilarious because number 9 for me is Chainsaw Man season 1. I initially didn't like this show, at least the concept, because like, oh my god, it's another show where a dude's inhabited by a demon. We got not Demon Slayer. I mean, his sister was inhabited by a demon, but we have so many protagonists with like demons being like their main thing, but like this story does it different. I'm not a fan of these, like, I guess these new age, what you would call them, animes, but like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man. I wouldn't count Bleach because it was finished way before these started, but you can tell Bleach is going in a different direction. But these new gen anime and stuff like that, I take back what I said initially. I actually like this show. The concept of just demons being made up of like different things, just like common fears and stuff like that, and then they manifest into like physical things. It's kind of similar, similar to Jujutsu Kaisen, which is I don't have Jujutsu Kaisen on my list, which is funny because I love that too. But I think they just had the movie in 2022, so that's why I didn't have it. But yeah, Chainsaw Man, you got the blood, the gore. I like what music there is. Again, it's not like what I'm used to. It's more like EDM up tempo stuff, considering the high octane action and stuff like that. But initially, I counted this show out, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. But a friend of mine recommended it to me, and I gave it a shot, and I like what I saw, and I think we can all, at least me, we can all relate to Denji.
Yeah, man. Man, that dude is thirsty 24/7. What did you
Oh
say?
man,
You don't care for Demon Slayer? Is that what you said?
yeah, I don't care for Demon Slayer.
Damn, dude, you getting us canceled. That is his opinion. I really enjoy Demon Slayer, so I'm just putting that out there. So don't.
I just want to say
Yeah.
UFO table carried. And for
I
those who
mean,
haven't seen the ending, I'm not going to spoil it, but for those who haven't seen the ending, you'll probably change your tune. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, on our last podcast, I probably got a lot of hate for my music takes. So today, let it be Kindle. So
I mean, this is just one. You had like three tallies yesterday.
those were good picks, whatever. Okay, number 9 for me is a really odd show, The Rehearsal. I don't know if anyone is familiar with it. It's on HBO Max, and it is a show from Nathan Fielder. He does like really dry slapstick humor in a way. He has a show called Nathan for You, and it's very on the same page. So his thing is, I don't know if the show is real still or if it's all scripted, but it is so funny. The premise is he is anxious about every day of his life. So no matter what he has to do, no matter how small it is, like if he just has to go to the grocery store, he pays actors and builds sets to rehearse everything that could possibly happen so nothing could go wrong. So he did that for himself and he was succeeding. So he decided to, hey, this is a good service and he's going to do it for other people. So people pay him to do this. Like the first episode, I think the guy is nervous to tell one of his best friends that I think he has feelings for, that he has been lying about his college education this entire like 10 years of their friendship. So Nathan comes in and he goes, they even track down the friend and get all her details and kind of like interview her to see what she's like, and like they fake everything. And so the place that he's gonna come out to her as like lying is a bar. So this so Nathan and his team build a full um, replica of the exact bar with everything the same, the seats, and then they get actors and they just rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And it's just it's so odd. I kept getting
That is
recommendations.
hilarious.
Yeah, I kept getting recommendations of the show, and it's out there, but it's so funny. I couldn't get enough that the last sequence of the show is just like it's so funny. It's broke down where he's rehearsing like every single detail, and then he messes up, so he goes back and rehearses something else. So, yeah, that is on HBO Max if you want to check it out.
That sounds like some weird Eric Andre type skit.
Yeah, yeah, that's the whole show, but it's like dry. It's so dry, so it's funny.
All right. Well, my number 7. Again, I'm just saying the numbers just so I know my place, but these are in no way ranked. But my number 7 here would be My Hero Academia season 4. Um, look, I'm a little biased. I like Mirko. Okay, okay, don't. But what else can I say? I like the previous seasons better so far. I will say I know where this is going because I've had the manga spoiled for me on Twitter. Um,
Damn.
but yeah, I've had a lot of it spoiled for me on Twitter. But I like spoils anyway, so it doesn't it just
Yeah, yeah,
I
he
just want to see
does.
how it gets adapted and where it goes. But I see where things are going. So the seasons for me was it took a while to get started, and I will say, like the other seasons, as soon as they came out, I immediately binged them. This season, I put it off, and I don't know what that is. Usually when I start watching like a boatload of anime and stuff like that, I kind of do take a break and start watching live action shows or rewatching stuff like from my childhood and stuff like that. Because you can't watch anime all the time, especially
No, you
when
need a break. Yeah.
yeah, especially when you've been watching as long as I have. So you start to go back to your comfort shows. So
Hmm.
for me, this was like I put this off to watch it, but I appreciate what this season's doing, but um, the animation is okay. I don't like that little filter they do when there's like a lot going on the screen, but I see why they do it because like people with epilepsy and stuff like that. But you know, it's My Hero season 4. Again, I like the other seasons better, but like I didn't see a drop in quality in terms of like the writing and pacing and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I am here. But yeah, great show. I'm still not caught up on that season because, like he was saying, um, when I go through anime phases, I will like watch it for like a month or two straight and just binge and binge. It gets too much, so then I switch to like live action shows
yeah,
too.
can't watch
Um,
that out loud.
no, no, I'll be playing it, and you know how they'll be like, ah.
Yeah,
So it's
don't
just
don't do
yeah.
it.
But
But
one
yeah,
other thing, yeah, I feel like My Hero gets a lot of hate, and I think
that's the
it's
fan base though.
yeah, it's
It's
just the fan
rightfully
base,
so.
man. Yeah, the
It-
fan base is so toxic, but and one other thing, he's not kidding when he says he likes spoilers. I swear to God, every single time we're going to a movie, he looks up the ending, and it pisses me off so much.
Here's the thing though. I don't. It's not like I tell him, "Oh, this is supposed to happen." I don't tell him unless he asks. So
No,
I
but
don't know.
he's just sitting there so unamused at the ending. He's like, "Oh yeah, I knew that was gonna happen," and I'm like, "Of course you did. You looked it up, you dumbass."
I don't like surprises.
No, I'll get you one day. I'll throw you a surprise party. We'll see. You might have a heart attack. All right, well, that's a great pick. I still got to catch up with the newest season. But my number 8 is Andor. This is a Star Wars original show on Disney Plus. Really surprised me cuz it kind of came out of nowhere. They talked about it a few years ago, but nobody was interested cuz it's about this character Cassian Andor from the Rogue One movie. But in that movie, I mean, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen Rogue One, but they die at the end, like all of them die. So everybody's like, why are they gonna do a show about a character we know is dead? So it's like before he's dead, and leading up to those events. But yeah, man, it blew me away. Even though I know the ending, like he's gonna die, it still surprised me week to week, and I think it's the best Star Wars we've gotten in I don't know a very long time because a lot of stuff in Star Wars could be fan servicey. It's not like you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is cool. There's lightsabers, but it's like, this isn't like a 5-star movie or show. So it's good they got like really good actors in Star Wars and really good writers and the drama. It's very, very good. It would be higher, but the shows on this list I think are a little better. So
You think
yeah, it's just what's that?
you think Andor is better than Mandalorian?
Ah, I think maybe um the writing could be better, you could say, and like the shot for shot maybe. But I'm a Mandalorian stan. I'm a fiend. I can't wait for season 3 is about to come out, so I'm very excited for that. And for everybody, I am a huge Star Wars fan,
Pull
so
out the lightsaber. I know you got it somewhere.
it's on the wall.
He's got one. I think he's got two, right?
Yeah, I got to. But yes, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but even I could say like the genre has been lacking for quite some time. Like the newest, with Daisy Ridley and stuff, like she did great and everything, but like the story just makes no sense. So it's really good that they're getting like serious directors and writers back into Star Wars. So that's why it's my number 8.
My number 6 then. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My number
How'd that
6.
happen?
I have no clue because I did Bleach, Chainsaw Man, My Hero, so I'm on number 6 here.
I don't know. Maybe you
Okay.
went twice and we didn't know.
Let me see. One, two, three. Maybe I can't count. Yeah, maybe I can't count. Anyway, next one on the list. I'm just gonna do it like that. Maybe I can't count. Uh, Atlanta series finale. It would have been higher. Again, mine aren't really ranked.
Thought this was your one.
Yeah, mine aren't really ranked. These are the ones that just came to my head when I thought about 2022 and what I watched. Again, because one of these, I got to double check, but I'm pretty sure one of these did not come out in 2022. It might have been 2021.
That's
But
fine.
anyway,
Yeah, I'm the same way.
yeah, I kept watching this one thing. You'll probably know what it is. But anyway, Atlanta series finale. What the can I say about that? This season
That
was
was a
really
lot.
out there. The ending
Hmm.
was not what I expected. And again, I was in the forums and Reddit looking up like people analyzing stuff, looking up the ending, the spoilers and stuff like that. I was all up in it. And I still didn't see this coming. I hate saying this, but I'm glad it's over because some people don't know when to walk away when the series is finished. But
Mm,
I think
yes.
Donald
Yeah.
set out to do what he did. He accomplished it. While the show was going on, it was the most talked about show. I will say maybe fans and stuff and the accolades dropped off around season 3.
Season three. Yeah.
Um,
Sadly, man.
but everything was still strong. It was a strong finish, especially the episode about the goof who sat by the door. Like if you like, I
Yeah.
watched this with my mom, and she thought like me, I knew what it was.
It's
Because it's
Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta, I knew what
Yeah.
to expect. But she thought that was real until the dude. I don't want to spoil too much, but like
The
something
glow
happens, and then they just show photos. So when the Goofy shoes came on, she knew it was fake.
with the
But
glove too.
yeah, that shit was just hilarious, and just like the pictures that they made for that episode, like, and then they had the nerve to play the actual eye to eye from I'm gonna forget the guy's name. Uh, anyway, they played the song from the Goofy movie, Eye to Eye, at
Yeah.
the end
Yeah.
to like really solidify it. And I think at the beginning, um, they had the Disney stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this is affiliated with this." Like, so it looked like a real documentary that episode, and it was just hilarious. But like that's what I've come to expect about Atlanta, and I just love how it kind of wrapped back into season 3. With if you really paid close attention, is again the episode was called "The Goof Who Sat by the Door," which is not making fun of. I wouldn't have laughed at that, but it's making a reference to the spook who sat by the door, which was a real
Mhm.
documentary. But it went back to an episode in season 3 where the main character Paperboy was in I want to say it was what, Germany? I forget where they were exactly.
Yeah, it was Germany or Sweden.
Yeah, but
Might have been Sweden. Yeah.
he was having like an acid trip or something like that the whole episode, and he kept basically
Yeah.
replaying the day. But if you look close at the opening frame, you'll see he's in the Goofy hat and he's literally sitting by a
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
So I mean, just like little details like that. And I love
Man.
following
Yeah.
the writers and stuff on Twitter because they be posting about the
Me
episode.
too.
And
Yeah.
whoever owned the account while the show was going, they were just posting. Y'all see it? It was hilarious. I
Hmm.
loved interacting with
Yeah.
it. And I don't think we'll get like another show like this with as much interaction as we did for a while.
No. And something cool they really did with the last season is if you go on like Hulu or just like the description on cable TV, like they're writing like, "Oh hell, they're back again with this bull," stuff like that. And the Atlanta's so special at doing like making everything feel real, as wild as it is. I'll speak on it a little more later because that's a little higher on my list. But number 7, I have Peacemaker. Peacemaker really came out of nowhere and surprised a lot of people because it's from James Gunn and it's a HBO Max special. And as most people know now, James Gunn is the new head, or co-head of DC, and I'm really happy about that because I love his work. But anyways, he redid the Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker was on the show, but he was really one of the least interesting characters on the movie, and a lot of people didn't want the show. But man, this made me a really big fan of this character that I had no interest in. The music choices that James Gunn always pulls is like off the wall, like you've never heard it. But like I immediately downloaded like every song that I heard. It was so good. The show is surprisingly emotional, and it has John Cena as its lead. So let that sink in. The show really made me a believer that John Cena is a good actor. Like before this, I was just like, ah, he's another wrestler turned actor. But man, he really showed his acting chops. He had me super emotional, and then I was like, snap out of it. I'm like, why am I getting emotional at John Cena? You know. But this show is one of the best comic book shows we've had in recent years. I think it is better than the most recent Marvel TV shows by a pretty far margin. No, for real though, there's not one episode that I think they missed on. The CGI is always perfect. The actors are a lot better. But yeah, overall, Peacemaker is just really impressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't making that face because I was disagreeing. I was like, yeah, that's not like a hard feat to do, and I feel like that's kind of because like if you look into if you ask the public, DC in terms of movies is not up there. Marvel has been having a lead for that, so they feel like they can get away with lesser quality stuff. So DC is like at least, and again, movies aside, their little shows, their animation and stuff, they have to be on it. Like I said, and yeah, John Cena, I always felt like he was a good actor. Again, there's a lot of wrestlers turned actors, but him and Batista are up there.
Yes, and Batista's been getting a lot of shine recently, and like he's been getting dramatic. He's starting to get dramatic roles as well. But John Cena for me is still better after watching this show.
Yeah.
But we'll see to come, And I always thought John Cena like he wasn't bad, but he never got like the
His
chance.
defining role.
Yeah, he never got the chance to show his range, and so James Gunn really showed his range, and a lot of people are paying attention now.
And I think that's more to do with like again, no, I'm not taking away from John Cena here, but like I think that has more to do with like the chemistry between the actors, the directors, and the writers and stuff like
Yes,
that. Because
yeah.
if you get good direction, you can bring the performance out to its fullest. So, you know,
But what about The Rock? No. Yeah. No, thank you.
no.
Dude plays the same role in every single movie.
Yeah, I think I seen a meme about that, and I was like, I know one of those is from the Rundown because I own the DVD of the
The
Rundown.
Rundown, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a good
That's a
movie. I
I
loved
like
it,
that
but like
movie, yeah,
looking
yeah.
back, he does play the same role, so it kind of gets boring. So
I would say the one he's kind of different in when he's kind of just starting out was Walking Tall. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I like that with
I,
Christopher Walken, right?
yeah, Christopher
Which
Walken.
was funny too. Walking tall, Christopher
Yeah, yeah,
Walken.
yeah. But it's a remake from a movie.
Yeah,
I don't know back in the 80s or something. But it's good and he shows that he can act if he wants, but ever since then he's just this musclehead guy in every movie. So,
I don't want to get too much on The Rock, but there was another movie
mhm.
that I feel like he played a good role in, but that's because he was playing a caricature of somebody who was like a bodyguard that wanted to turn an actor. So he was making fun of like
Oh yeah.
these people that go out and try to do the basically it was I wouldn't say he was mocking himself, but people like him, like wrestler turned actor stuff. I forget what it was called, but it was with John Travolta,
Mhm.
Christina Milian. I forget what it was. It's a sequel. The first one was called Get Shorty, but I forget what this one was called. But yeah, I'm not gonna keep talking about The Rock. So number six, I have Abbott Elementary, specifically season
Ooh, good
two.
pick. Good pick.
Season one, they had this set up, so it was a little slow. You're getting to know the characters. It was like a lot, you're just getting to know these characters. But season two was like, uh, you could just start, fleshing out the world a bit, people's relationships, and like start pushing a little bit of the boundaries. And you still get to learn a lot about these characters, but then you also get like the holiday episodes and stuff like that. But I really like season two, especially I don't now the day of this release, the latest episode is when have you seen it? I don't want to spoil it by the way.
I don't think I've seen the what episode are we on? 3?
I forget the number, but his dad comes back about the gardening.
Yes, yes, that's
Okay,
great.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't want to spoil it. So again, when this comes out, you'll probably have already seen it if you're already watching the show, but I didn't want to spoil it. But basically I love that episode just because the casting again is great. They really do
Oh,
look
for
like
the
father and
dad? Oh my
son.
god. Yeah.
But like the way they acting, he's like, season one, he was like, I didn't want to take over the gardening business, and I wanted to be a principal. That was Gregory's character. You kind of see him growing. He's like, now I want to be a teacher. I love gardening, but not in the traditional sense. Because he made a metaphor. Like I love gardening, but not like actual soil dirt gardening, but like nurturing students and watching people grow and helping build their confidence and stuff like that. So I think it's a good show for teachers and stuff like that. Like it just shows you like again it's satire, but it's like it does show you like these relationships and people's upbringing and stuff like that, but it also brings awareness to like these smaller schools and stuff like that, and how hard these teachers actually work and stuff like that. Because if I remember correctly, the show is based off Quinta, one of Quinta's teachers or something like that.
Yes, yes.
And again,
Um,
congratulations to those two. Because so I say those two, but I mean obviously the actors who played, and I guess Quinta's a writer, but Quinta Brunson and Tyler James Williams, because I believe they just won awards at the Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch that stuff. I really don't. I just see who wins on Twitter and stuff afterwards. The only I really don't even watch award shows like that anymore. I mean, maybe the Grammys if somebody I know, not personally, obviously, but somebody I know is about to or is up for a not a reward, nominated or something like that. And I think the Grammys is probably it. But yeah, congratulations to those two.
Yeah, congrats to Quinta, man. She's really been everywhere since the show. It's been gaining so much traction. She was on New Year's Eve, like the TV, the show when they do the ball drop. She was on there, and she's been on like the Thanksgiving Day parade. She's just been everywhere. And yeah, she won the Golden Globe, and so did Tyler. And then at the Critics' Choice Awards, the actress that plays Barbara, I can't remember her name,
I forget her name.
but she won for her Best Supporting Actress on a comedy or musical TV show. And I am one for award shows. I like it, especially this year, because a lot of things that I love this year are nominated. Um, and we're speaking of the garden scene. I love that they brought that back from, was it the past season?
Yeah, that was the first season.
So that was great to see where he's like secretly tending to the garden because these idiots are like killing all the plants. So man, I love that show, but it didn't quite make my list. It's in, you know. So my number 6 isn't actually from this year, but it's the first time I've ever watched it, and it's One Punch Man. I freaking love One Punch Man. I know it's so old. It's so old. But this is the first time I've ever seen it, and I think it is the funniest anime I've ever seen. I love the main character and just the animation style, dude. It's funny. I've never seen an anime like this, and I kept putting off watching it because like I was watching My Hero, and I was like, I don't really want to watch another hero show, but it's so different. um, this dude is amazing. His theme song is so good. I love the opening music to to the season,
Open,
and
nah, season one's ending was perfect. I love it.
that's good too. Yeah, yeah. One Punch. I love that. But we're finally getting a new season. I think coming out this year. They finally announced, and
Yeah,
I don't know why it took so long. Cause
COVID and I don't know if it was their studio, but there was a bombing or like some kind of gun threat at a Japanese animation studio a while back. So they had to take more precautions and stuff like that. But
oh
because of,
damn. Okay.
yeah, but you know how Japan works, their animators to death and stuff like that. But they're so tightly packed that with COVID, they still had to be on like heavy precautions and stuff.
Right. Well, yeah. Anyways, I didn't know all that actually. That's there. There was like a bomb threat at their studio. Is what you're saying?
I think it went off. Like somebody actually bombed
Oh,
the studio and killed people. But I want to say it could have been a gun, but I know somebody was like a bunch of people were killed at animation studio.
because it was like taking too long on the
No, I think
season.
they
No,
were like
I'm
upset at
I'm
somebody's
sorry. Yeah.
ending or something like that. It was like this ending sucked. Yeah,
What?
they're
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
They're crazy.
Yeah, anime fans are kind of loonies, bro. But yeah, man, One Punch is has climbed the ranks to my top animes of all time just after watching it. The season's not long, but it's I think it's perfect. There's nothing I would really change, and it's very comedical, and I just love that this normal dude decided to train like hard as to become One Punch, you know.
Well, that's the joke though. He didn't really train that hard. Like the workouts he
No,
did were
yeah,
like
yeah.
average, but he just got lucky as hell.
But he did them like every single day, and like you said,
Again
yeah.
though, it's like it's their
No,
average
no,
workouts.
no. I mean, if realistically, that wouldn't turn you
So
to
I'm
like
saying,
a
yeah.
god, yeah.
Uh,
But it's animation, so I mean,
and there's also I'm not going to spoil something, but that gets explained later on how he got his powers and stuff like that. Because obviously, even in his universe, people were
yeah.
training just as hard as he was. Like the old, I forget his name, but Garu's master.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
he trained. Obviously, he trained like that too, and he doesn't got those powers. So something's up.
yeah.
But
It's funny. He trained so hard, like he lost his hair, And when he's fighting is like my favorite thing because he's so unamused. He'll just be like, oh, and like the person fighting him will be going insane. Their hardest they've ever fought, and they can't even touch him.
I don't know. Those mosquitoes beat his ass though.
Hey,
He
he
couldn't get
prevailed.
him.
He prevailed.
But yeah. So One Punch Man. I suggested that. Yeah, like he said, I suggested at the same time as My Hero, just because again it was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
hero thing, and I was like, yo, he'll probably like this. I didn't know. I thought you had watched it
Love it.
then. I didn't know you were just now watching it.
There was like he always gets on my because like the whoa, he gets on my
Pause.
case, I should say. Because he recommends me so much stuff and I don't usually watch it because I'm already stuck on a
And it's
different
just because they're
anime.
perfectly curated. You heard
Yeah,
him say,
yeah.
"I'm 2 for 2 right now. I'm 2 for 2."
What was
My
the other
Hero.
one? Oh, My Hero. Yeah, yeah. But
I'm 2 for 2.
he's recommended me one that multiple people have told me about is Psychopass. So I've watched actually a good bit of episodes. I just have to finish it.
Yeah, Psychopaths ain't for the faint of heart. I literally found that one just this is not on the list or not even recommendations, but there was a new season, I believe, recently. But
I think so,
I
yeah.
found it because I looked up top 10 anime openings. And this was like a long time ago. And I was like, oh my God, that looks good. I'll actually watch the show because the animation was great. And I actually liked the show. I bought the movie. I want one of those Dominators too, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
oh
Well,
well.
yeah, I'm weird when it comes to recommendations because like somebody will tell me to do this and I'm like, "Oh, since you told me, I don't want to. I want to find it myself," you know?
Yep, we're
But
alike.
it's usually really good. So, anyways, yeah. So, number 6 was One Punch Man for me. What is your number 6 or 5?
Number 5, Sonic Prime Season 1. I love Sonic, man. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you guys this. You should know this by now. Come on.
They don't
We
know
got
you. You got to tell
and we
them.
did the intro. I told him about Sonic. You look, you're gonna get tired of hearing me say Sonic, Tekken,
Oh
Kanye
god. Oh
If he ever gets
god.
his act together. But Persona. There's a bunch of things I'm gonna ramble on about that I like. Bloody Roar. But anyway, Sonic Prime Season 1. Um, I can't remember how many episodes there were because I binge watched it immediately and finished it. I'm probably gonna do a second watch later today. Um, but Sonic Prime, man, this was like this was literally they said 2021 was the year of Sonic, and they always get that wrong. They released I think the movie or something came out, but it wasn't big. I want to say it was the remake. No, I want to say it was the remake of not remake, re-release of Sonic Colors, and that failed. But so the following year they didn't say year of Sonic, but I mean this was the year of Sonic. We got the movie Sonic Movie 2, excuse me, Sonic Movie 2. We got Sonic. The end of the year was Sonic Prime. We got Sonic Frontiers, and we got the Symphony, I believe. Like, bro, this year was stacked. But Sonic Prime, a new take on the show. It's not like Sonic X. It's not like Boom. The animation is similar to Boom, but you know it's a Netflix budget, so they got like a little bit more, um, money to deal with. The animation's okay, but because of the Canadian laws about animation down there, they had to get all new voice actors based in Canada and stuff like that. So obviously the voice actors are changed. But as far as Eggman, at least the main version of Eggman, I didn't notice that much of a difference. But Mike Pollock is the goat when it comes to Eggman. The Sonic voice actor, I think everybody was tired of Roger Craig Smith. I love Roger Craig Smith. I think him and Jason Griffith are probably the best iterations of Sonic. Fight me. This was my second hot take. Everybody likes I can't even think of his name right now. This is probably my third strike today right here. But
That's a burning take, I guess. I don't
what
know.
is his name? Ryan Drummond. Everybody likes Ryan Drummond, but I don't like
Ryan?
Ryan. I like Jason Griffith better. Jason is probably my favorite, but Roger Craig Smith, who also plays Batman, Steve Rogers in the Marvel's Avengers Assemble, you know his voice. I liked him for Sonic, and with this game, Sonic Frontiers, like I was saying, I know we're supposed to be talking about the movies, but basically everybody hated him because of the voice direction. But you got to understand, he's just doing what he's told. But anyway, we got a new voice actor, new cast. Rouge, for some reason, is added to the main cast of Sonic characters. You know, usually it's Amy, Tails, Knuckles, Sonic, Eggman, obviously for the antagonists and stuff like that, and maybe Metal Sonic, maybe Shadow because of popularity, but you hardly ever see Rouge and Big the Cat for that matter. But you get like a lot of like if you're a big Sonic fan, you'll know all these characters. Like the only people we're missing are probably Cream, Vector, I guess the rest of Team Chaotix. But again, this was part one of season one, I believe. So we'll definitely see more down the line. But like this was a fresh new take on Sonic, and it's coming off of like the movie stuff. So like the movie universe is different from the games. I want to say. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, but like you can see they took influences from the movie that got popularized. So I mean, I'm just looking to see what else is here.
Have they renewed it for another season?
Oh yeah, yeah, they're working on it as we speak.
Alrighty. Well, yeah, I'm not really into Sonic like he is, but hey, that's okay. That's okay. I don't know the names he was rambling off, but yeah. But hey, I'm sure listeners will. So I'm probably in the minority when it comes to that.
You're
But
not.
no, I've seen the Sonic movies and I've played some of the games, but that's kind of as far as I would go. He knows every single detail and lore element. So it's his life. That's okay though. I have other things like that too. So going into my top five, at number five, I have The Bear. The Bear is a television show on Hulu that I just kind of stumbled upon. It was just popping up and I binged it. Like it was very, very good. Um the lead actor, I am blanking on his name right now, but he's been on Shameless and shows like that, but this is his standout role. And he's really just he's blown me away. The way they shoot it is very like anxiety fueled. You know what I mean? Like the last episode, I guess I should say. So the show is about a chef, and he has a five. He like worked at a 5-star Michelin star restaurant in like Paris and like all over the world, and he's like trained. But his brother owned this restaurant called the Bear, and they sell like cuts of meat and like sandwiches and stuff like that, like in Chicago. So his brother passes away, and he comes home and takes over the restaurant, and it's really cool to see him do this because he's like a Michelin star chef and everything. But it's so intense. There's like a lot of yelling and fighting. It's just very intense because it's in Chicago as well. And as you know, Chicago is not really the best place. But the last episode is one of the coolest things I've seen on TV all year. It's like a 20-minute episode, and the entire episode is a one take shot. There's no cuts at all. And it's just him cooking in the kitchen, and all hell is breaking loose. And like, you could just feel the anxiety and panic like rising throughout the episode. It is a very, very good show, and I would recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, I definitely got a bunch of ads for that on Hulu, YouTube, and stuff like that. I seen a bunch of ads. I added it to my list, but I've been really slacking when it comes to live action. Like I said, I've been
Yeah.
mainly watching comfort shows. I've already seen like the endings to. But it's definitely on my list.
The thing about the Bear is it's for everybody. So it's got like drama. It's classified as a comedy, and like the lead actor's name, I just looked it up, is Jeremy Allen White, and like he's been winning all of these awards, but it's in the category of a comedy. But to me, it's a comedy. It's funny as hell, but it's really dramatic, and it's for everybody, even if you don't like cooking. It just happens to be set in a restaurant. So that is my number five.
Okay, number four. This is the last live action thing. I guess the
I
genre
figured,
here
yeah,
is
yeah.
the only different. But you think considering what the previous episode, you think this would be higher? It was a three-part documentary. Can you guess what it is?
Jesus.
Yes, Genius.
Genius.
Okay,
My bad. My
look,
bad.
huge Kanye fan, man. Again, you're gonna get tired of hearing me say like this. Again, I don't agree with his recent statements, but this was before that. Okay, this was like I said. This is why I put Donda 2 at my number one spot yesterday for top projects in 2022. Um, this was part of that rollout. So apparently, Cootie Rock, I believe his name is. I hope I didn't get any of that wrong, but I know that's his handle on Instagram. He had been filming Kanye for like years, decades, And this is that footage basically. And it's just like if you know me, one of my favorite songs by Kanye is one Through the Wire, but two is now I'm blanking on the name because I said Through the Wire first, but Last Call. That's what it is, Last Call. And if you know the lyrics, like I know the lyrics, while you were watching that documentary, you literally got to see the lyrics play out like exactly how we said it. And that was my favorite thing. Like, we're musicians, and me personally, like this documentary really resonated with me because it's like I feel like a lot of people aren't taking me seriously as an artist. I feel like maybe if I just got this chance, I clearly don't fit in with like the rest of my peers in terms of like hip hop and what it looks like and what it's supposed to be, at least in this day and age. But
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like if I would get this chance, I would definitely be like a big artist. And when Kanye finally got his chance, you got to see that. But also in the documentary, you got to see a little bit of his downfall there in the show. And there wasn't like a lot of footage, I think, around the 2008 era because obviously we know what happened. What was it? It was the Taylor Swift incident, and then he went to Hawaii and like really like went on his own and did. And then we got My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Mhm.
He came back. I don't think he was talking to Cootie Rock like that, so he didn't have any footage from that. So like the next really available footage that they used for the documentary was the Donda rollout and stuff like that. And I think they reused some old footage because it made sense to go back in time and stuff like that. But like the documentary really showed his relationship with his mother, other Chicago artists, and then Rock Nation. And then so you got to see the rise of an artist, and you got to see the beginning of the fall, and now in like literally right in front of us, we got to see the end of the fall.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so but like just like again, the reason I have it so high is just because like those first two episodes of the documentary that focused on the highs and getting there. So like just seeing him as a struggling producer, I
It's
say producer.
relatable.
Yeah, I
Relatable, yeah.
see. I say producer first because that's how we got into the scene. Like you said, if it wasn't for the ghost production, I wouldn't even be here. Again, last call. Uh, you got to see everybody play him in like Rock Nation. He was playing his music. And I will say maybe when he was playing it, why are you playing it for the reception? Is what honestly
Yeah,
pissed you.
yeah, he's just yeah.
But you playing your music, is obviously better than what everybody else doing at the time. And then you're sitting there doing all these beats for these other artists, and you don't got the jersey, you don't got the chain like you was saying, so you're not giving you the time of day. But we see where Kanye got. At one point, he was the best
He
of all
got
time.
yeah.
And I will say, this is again, it was part of the reason that I said he was a top project for 2022. He broke the Apple's streaming platform when he was doing this. She was like everybody was waiting on, oh, where's this at? Where's this at? He really got people to watch him work out in the dang Mercedes stadium.
Yep.
What other artist is doing that? So yeah, number four, the Genius 3-part documentary. I can't
That's
recommend you watch it, because the statements,
yeah,
but
yeah.
if
So
you like
that's
music, first two episodes.
yeah. That's my predicament. So one of my biggest things is when I feel in a creative slump, I love to watch music documentaries, especially like the struggle. It's like very relatable. Like to see somebody go from nothing to the top of the top. It's very inspiring. And I did not watch this yet. When I was just about to watch it, and then this dude just, I just don't know if I could watch it after everything he's been saying and
How
stuff
long
like
did you
that.
put it off? Because that was the rollout for Donda 2. You listened to Donda 2, didn't you?
I did not watch it. No, I put it off, and I put that off forever. Yeah, I don't know. When it came out, I was like, I'm very weird about stuff. I have to be in the mood to watch it. So like, just was not in the mood for that, and I just didn't want to watch Kanye, kind of. So
Now it's too late.
yeah.
I actually don't know if I need to say this. I don't know if Netflix still has the actual Netflix documentary still up. They might because it's
Oh
Netflix is in the
yeah,
title, but you know what happened to Kanye. I don't know if it's still up. I mean, you can probably find it
that's true.
somewhere, but
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I forgot to look that up.
Well, and also speaking on footage from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, there is actually footage, but it's on YouTube. You've probably seen it, but it's like a little documentary on YouTube, and it's footage of how they made it and stuff like that.
Well, I
Cause
think the issue with that was that it wasn't Cootie's footage, so he didn't want to put it in that
oh no, yeah,
mega
yeah,
clip.
but it's a great pick overall. I love music documentaries, as I said. All
Okay,
right, but
so apparently it's still up.
it's still up.
It's still on Netflix.
Hey, if you watch it, that's on you. Watch it if you want, but I we can't really recommend it, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna recommend it.
All right, but going into my number 4 is Barry season 3. It's a show on HBO Max again. You'll see a lot of my stuff is from HBO Max. I just really drawn to that streaming service cuz I feel like they always put out quality their live action stuff, I should say, because recently Velma came out on HBO Max, so it's kind of a joke. Um but Barry is a show that follows Bill Hader. He created it and produces it and writes it. A lot of people probably know Bill Hader from SNL. He's known as like the comedic guy, but he is an amazing dramatic actor as well. So the premise of the show is it's an assassin that is depressed. So he's like a hitman and he gets these hits and one of his hits he has to go to LA and he, I won't spoil it, but basically he's just very depressed as what he does. Um, but he stumbles upon this acting school because one of the hits he's there for in LA, the student goes to this acting school. So he stumbles in and he's just like in love with the art of acting all of a sudden. So the show follows this assassin that wants to become an actor. And it's really funny because during the whole show, he's doing these acting courses and getting pretty good at it, but he's not good at it. But behind the scenes, he's still doing shady and killing people and stuff like that. It is really funny, one of the funny shows of the year, but it's also one of the most dramatic shows of the year. And it really does not get enough love, but I feel like the quality is top notch season to season. And this is season 3, as I said, and it's the best season, I think. And it's already been renewed for a fourth one, too.
Yeah, I think out of like at least the older SNL cast, Bill Hader was definitely up there, man. Love that
Oh,
guy.
yeah. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he's great, man. He can really act too, is the thing. And the cast is so good. Uh the guy that played Fonz back in the day, uh
Henry
he
Winkler, I want to say.
Henry Winkler, yeah, or Winkle, I forget. But
I think it's Winkler.
man, he is so good to see him again because every role he's ever had, has been like a goof or a comedy. Like he was in Click with Adam Sandler, and it was just funny. But Bill Hader really gave him a chance to shine, and he could really dramatically act, and he just won for best supporting actor for the show.
Yeah, so it's Henry Winkler. Yeah.
Henry
I
Winkler.
don't know why. I just know knowledge like that off the bat. I just had to look that up. But yeah.
I've been following this award season too, and I watched him win, and I'm just blanking with names, but yeah,
Yeah. It's just
great,
like
great
you
show.
ran a bookmark and it's clicked. It was weird. But now we're to our, top three. So my number three, anime. I mean, shocker. Come on, dude. I told you what it was.
Wow.
The pilot episode. So number three, what is it? Technically, it is uh, I guess you would call this like a seasonal thing, but it's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: Stone Ocean. So this is part six, but the whole story is like one big part. But I guess you could say these stories are coming seasons. So this is the part six. So everybody loved Vento Oreo, or should I say Golden Wind, part five last year with Giorno Giovanna. This takes place a few years after that in Florida, and this follows the first and so far only female protagonist, or JoJo, in the series, Jolene Cujo. So basically, she gets imprisoned. Uh, Her being a Joe star, bad luck follows her, and she has these stand abilities. I'm not gonna get into stands. You can watch JoJo. There's a bunch of people you can watch online to figure out what a stand is, what JoJo is, and all that stuff. But basically, since he's a Joe star, bad luck follows her, and part six is very bizarre, like it says in the title, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You'll learn a bunch of random facts in there, crazy. This is the most anime I could honestly say, like that, down to the art style. I will say Netflix getting a hold of JoJo's and doing this season really ruined the hype because everybody was waiting on this one, but Netflix likes to release stuff in batches now instead of just like serialized stuff. So part five took off because it was serialized and it released like a normal anime. But part six, you didn't really hear that much hype for after it initially got announced. It's just honestly Hirohiko Araki, the creator. Uh, is JoJo is like him sharing his music playlist because the stands and some of the people are literally named after Western artists. Now, keep in mind they have to be changed, like for legal reasons. I'm trying to think of a name. So, in part 5, um, there was a stand that Narancia had called Aerosmith in the manga. It got changed to something because obviously Aerosmith is an American band and they don't want to be referenced and stuff like that due to like legal reasons. So like keep in mind some of the names are changed and stuff like that, but the songs and the names of the people are referenced like to like Western culture and stuff like that. So like I said, it's him kind of sharing his playlists and stuff like that. So Stone Ocean is a good watch. I enjoyed it for what it was. Again, I think releasing it in batches really lowered the hype train there, and then everybody was like, because of the ending, and again, I guess because it is a female protagonist, not a lot of people were into it, and they were kind of waiting on part 7 to release, which is Steel Ball Run, but I don't know if it has got announced yet. But again, David Production does the animation and stuff like that, but this time around Netflix got a hold of like the streaming rights, so they kind of butchered it there. So, but it is what it is.
So does Netflix have full rights to JoJo now? Like, is it not
I
streaming
don't know if
anywhere else?
I definitely seen it on Hulu, so I don't know if they have full rights, but they have rights to part 6. So part 6 isn't going to be anywhere else but Netflix.
That's a recommendation he keeps giving me is JoJo's, but I still haven't seen that yet as well. So
It's very bizarre, and again, this is not one to watch out loud in English or Japanese. So beware.
what or Japanese?
Yeah, Japanese is worse.
Oh my god. Okay.
Japanese is worse.
And then what number was that for you?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Going into my number 3 is Atlanta season 4. It's much higher in my list than him, which I'm very surprised by because me and Kendall are both like really, really obsessed with Atlanta, and I feel like more than most people. A lot of people, like he said, kind of fell off after season 3 because it was so different, and each episode was following someone new. But we still got some with the main cast. But that's one of the best seasons, man. It's so good. Um, and season 4 is, I think, a perfect ending. I mean, I'm greedy, so I would have loved to
Yeah.
see more with Ern and his daughter Lottie and stuff like that. And Darius too, like get more personal. But I'm very happy with what we got, and I think it's a perfect cap off for Atlanta. And Atlanta's just really special, man. It's like he was saying, I don't think we're gonna get another show anytime soon that's like this big of an impact on the culture, you know. And we were kind of talking yesterday, but about the music, but Donald Glover really showcases artists on the show, like as intros and stuff like that. So yeah, man, Atlanta is one of my favorite shows of all time. I love how weird it gets and meta. It's like it's perfect, it gets in your face about it, but it feels everything feels real in the show, which is hard to do when you have a show with invisible cars and stuff, and Teddy
I was
Perkins,
hoping you
you
mentioned the
know.
invisible
Yeah.
car.
And the invisible car is one of the best things about the show because it's like an in credit scene. And I think it's their only in credit scene cuz I
There's
thought
definitely more I can't think of, but there's more.
I watched them all, but I don't recall. But because I kept bringing this up to Kendall, I was like, "Oh my god, the invisible car was the funniest part of the episode," and he thought I was
What
crazy.
car?
Yeah, he's like,
What
"What
car?
are you talking about?" So for him to believe me, I had to show him the clip. But yeah, they just do way left field stuff, but they still make it feel real and like the world feels authentic, and it's a perfect show, really, in my opinion.
And again, like I think due to like some of its popularity is due to just like them being active on Twitter and stuff like that, and a lot of their shows like it was like the Boondocks, and where like it was like a satirical analyzation of real world and stuff like that, current events and stuff like that. Um, but the characters and the actors really made the show, and I'm just now it came
Man,
to me.
yes, the actors.
There was another end credit scene. There was two that I can think of. The one with the jacket in the TLC episode.
Okay, yeah, that jacket.
Yeah, and we used to watch this on TV, or at least me, uh,
Hmm.
we watch it live on TV, and then we talk to each other about like what we got of the episode, at least for the first two seasons.
Hmm.
And then I think either I went to college or I was watching it in college, or it just came on at weird hours. So we just like binged the whole season and then talk about it. So like
Yeah, yeah.
when I was watching on TV, I really didn't see the invisible car because I got up there. I knew there was gonna be like something at the end credits, but like I think I guess I got up to the bathroom and somebody changed the channel, so I missed it.
That
But
yeah, that was season one too.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and like he said, to highlight the actors. I feel like the show really boosted a lot of careers, like especially Brian Tyrese Henry. Man, he is just like on a different level now, and like he's been cast in everything, and you'll see he's on my list for a role in a movie as well. But and like Keith Stanfield,
I was about to.
like
You got to mention Lakeith.
man, like Keith, man. After it's like after this show got popular, they just got any job they wanted, and Lakeith is he's a phenomenal actor, man. And just the what's the I just said his
Zazie
name.
Beach. Oh, you're talking about
Oh, she's good too. But no, his solo episode with I said it earlier, it's the character that's weird, like Michael Jackson looking.
Eddie Perkins.
Yeah. So the Teddy Perkins episode, just yeah, like Keith really shows, his acting chops in that, and the show is just perfect in my eyes.
Yeah. I just
You
wish
can't say
some of
enough,
those.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wish some of those characters would kind of like get the break out of their roles because I noticed Lakeith keeps getting characters in movies that are basically just the same character from like Atlanta's, and he's just playing Darius, the character. But like
Kind
his
of,
chops
yeah.
are definitely there. Like in The Harder They Fall, the Netflix show
That
or
one
not show
is
movie.
the movie, yeah. That one's yeah.
My God,
It's
he
like
played a great villain.
yeah. It's like his dream, like he's the same character like you say, but he's played different characters like what is it? Judas and the I forget. It's on
Black
Netflix as well.
Messiah.
Yeah. He's a different character in that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just really look forward to what this cast could do next. And I hope Donald starts taking more acting roles too, but like more dramatic cuz there was a scene in this season. I forget the name of the episode, but it's when he takes Lottie and Van camping, and it's him discussing to them about he's gonna move to LA for his new marketing job. Um, and he's just, he's over Van like in the tent, and he's like telling her how he really feels about her. And Donald, I always thought he was a good actor, but he really proved it to me this season, like with the therapy scene and the tent scene, when he just gets that one single tear to come down, and like his look on his face, it's great.
That therapy scene, or really the therapy episode, was hilarious. And that's another one that had an end credit on the therapy episode,
Oh
because it
yeah,
showed
yeah,
the
you're right.
playback
Yeah,
shit.
that
Honestly,
was
that's something I would do. That shit was hilarious. I just kind of wish that they left one thing on a cliffhanger. He spoke to Tracy at the end. He said, "I'm gonna get you too," or something like that. And I kind of wish I'd see Tracy get his payback for season two.
Tracy is a nut, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love Tracy, and I would have loved to have him in the show more. He's just
I
hilarious.
love
But
the actor, but I hate like he really played his role because I hated him as a character. Like he was an
well, that's how you know he did a good job.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he did a good job. I hated him.
Um, yeah. There's like not enough you can say about this show. Just if you haven't watched it, please check it out. It's for anybody, I think.
Yeah. All right, so we're down to number two.
Number two.
This one set is historical, so that's why I said it. And I'm not gonna go. No, I'm not gonna go get my plushies, but you should know by this if you get to see the video what this is. Pokemon Journeys. My boy Ash from Pallet Town finally became a champion after all this time. I had to put it on the list. I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't even watch most of Journeys just because of one is it's hard to watch on TV, and two, like the streaming platforms, they don't have all the Pokemon in one place. There's the Pokemon app, there's the stuff on Hulu, there's the stuff on Netflix, and it's like all over the place. I don't know which one to watch first and stuff like that. So I watched all of the Indigo League. I watched Diamond and Pearl when it came on TV, like that era, and I've seen a little bit of the black and white stuff. And then I watched a little bit of the spinoffs, and I watched a couple of the movies, and I watched the remake of the Mewtwo movie. And obviously, I tuned in on the Twitter spoiled it for me. I wouldn't have found out had it not been for Twitter. But Twitter spoiled, the ending for me. Not the ending, but when he started the champion tournament in Galar. So Pokemon Journeys is my number two for that reason alone. Bro became a champion finally, and they're retiring the character of Ash Ketchum, at least as the main character of the show. Uh, what a wild ride! That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
I'm glad you put it on here. I've not watched any. Really, I've not really watched any Pokemon since I was a kid. You know, I played some games and stuff like that, but I didn't keep up with the series. I was more into like other animated shows like Spider Man and stuff like that. But even I know how big of a deal it is to retire this legacy character and to finally let him, you know, catch
Bro,
them
old
all,
and be
right?
11.
Yeah,
Bro was
yeah.
10 for
He's
years,
he's
decades.
it's like a Caillou. It's
Fucking
really
immortal. But yeah, no, you know what? That's a lot. I think he can turn 12. They said a year had passed in the show, so by default he would have had to been 11. But it was just like for those who have actually like, I feel good, or at least I'm envious of the people who have been watching the show like literally from start to finish. Because there was like there was a scene at the end there where Pikachu won. He got to see all of Ash's teams and a little flashback before he did the final blow on the Leon's Charizard. Um, Again, for those who have been watching all this time, congratulations, man. I'd call it quits right here. Otherwise, you're gonna get into some treacherous territory. And I want to say, Pokemon is actually one of not the, but one of top three type deal. The longest running animes.
how long would you say? Like 20 over 20
Definitely,
years, right?
yeah. I want to say, yeah. It started in the 90s. I want to say the games came out in 94, 95. But the show has been running, I want to say, since 98, maybe 97. And I'm
Dang.
24,
That's
right?
my birth year too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 24. So,
Yeah, you're asking me your age. I don't know.
yeah, look, man, I
You
don't keep
said
up
I'm
with that shit.
24, right?
It was
You
a
don't
rhetorical.
keep up.
I really don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm like I said, I'm really glad you put it on the list because I feel like it deserves some recognition. All right, but going into my number two spot is Severance. Now, this is a Apple TV original, executively produced from Ben Stiller. I I'm very into TV news and movie news, and all I kept hearing was raving reviews for this show. So much so that I got a free trial of Apple TV just to watch it. Um, Severance stars Adam Scott. Most people probably know him from Parks and Recreation, Step Brothers, but usually he plays like very comedic roles, and I'm a really huge fan of Adam Scott and everything he does. I think his what's special about him is his subtle acting. He's just so good at like very subtle subliminal like face acting, if that makes sense. um, but this is his breakout role for me. He has been nominated for every award for this. Sadly, he hasn't won. He's been losing to like the show Yellowstone, which doesn't deserve it. It's trash. But yeah, Adam Scott, man, he just blew me away with his role in this. There's no way to really describe this show without giving it away. The premise is it's these people that work in an office and it's their day-to-day life. Kind of it's not like The Office at all. It's very very dramatic, but also dark humor, and I really like that. But it's very unique, the most original show I've seen in many years. Ben Stiller, he's very very good at directing. I don't know if anybody's ever watched Secret Life of Walter Mitty, but he's also helped direct that and he stars in it. I would definitely check it out. Like I said, it's on Apple TV. You could get a 3 month free trial just to watch it. So I have like a 6 month free trial. So there's like codes out there. So if you really want to watch this, I would definitely check it out. But what's very special about this is the cinematography, and Apple is like all about quality. So I guess that's what they did on their TV shows and originals because the cinematography is just beautiful. The way they frame everything. I'm sorry, I'm really geeking out and nerding over this show, but it's probably like top three favorite shows all time for me. And we're getting to season two, I think, later this year. So I'm very excited.
I don't know how you keep finding these shows, but like a lot of these are I have never heard of. And
Oh,
then you got more streaming platforms.
it it also has Christopher Walken, who
I thought
plays
he was
a
dead.
complete. No, no, no. It has a completely different. Like he plays a completely different character. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, Christopher Walken, and it also stars John Chiro. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he played Falcone in the Batman movie that came out
Batman.
this past year. So, yeah, definitely check it out. Blew me away. Blew my socks
That's
off.
wild. So before we get to number one, I'm gonna just give you the rundown and then honorable mentions. You're gonna hate the honorable mentions. So
I am.
again, yeah. Uh, so again, I didn't have like any in a particular order, but the first one I recommended was Bleach: Thousand Year Blood War. Then it was Chainsaw Man season one. Then it was My Hero Academia season four. Atlanta the series finale. And then it was Abbott Elementary season two. And then we had Sonic Prime season one. And again, not recommending this one. I'm just telling you where it's at on like my personal top 10. But the three-part documentary Genius, and then we had JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, and then Pokemon Journeys. Um, so my honorable mentions: Mob Psycho 100. Same creator as One Punch Man. I would say the art style is a little different, but I still want to say it's I want to say it's Mappa. I could be wrong, so don't crucify me for that one. But the animation style is really good. The tone is a little different for One Punch Man. It's still like satirical and stuff like that, and the character's OP as hell. So his power set is kind of similar, where he's OP, but instead of just physical attributes and physical strength, he has psychic abilities, and like as far as we know, they're limitless, or at least near limitless. So but it's not like he completely one shots every opponent he comes across. But he's just like a young middle schooler, I believe, not a high schooler, but a middle schooler going through life. He has a crush on this girl, but he doesn't want to use his psychic abilities to win her over. He wants to do it naturally. And his daily dilemma is basically improving his body so he's more attractive in his self-esteem, juggling work, and then dealing with whatever demonic or supernatural force that of the week that tries to take over the town and does something ridiculous. And my second honorable mention is Marvel She-Hulk. Fight me. I will say. Now look, I
Nah,
will say the the whole the way they deal with the Hulk in this movie, not movie, show, especially those first couple episodes, they really kind of belittle him and say, "Oh, you don't know what it is, to deal with all this stress and trauma. You're not a woman. You don't get hit on the street." And not to put being catcalled down or just living life as a woman down. I'm not doing that in any other sense, but it's not like she basically says to this guy who has been mentally abused by and manipulated, hunted down by the army. Oh, you don't have it as bad. You're not a woman. He can kill people at a moment's notice, and he has to keep himself in check. Otherwise, there are literally dire consequences. He can't get close to anybody for a long time. He is immortal. Most people he does get into contact with in the way, because he's a little bit different than they have him in the comics. But like most people he's gotten into contact with, Tony, Steve, they're either dead or they went back in time and got old and lived their life basically. They're gone now. Thor's off world. Like he has like literally nobody. So the one time he thought he could relate to somebody, she kind of brushes him off and says, "Oh, I don't need your help," and stuff like that.
yeah,
And we see throughout the show, she did in fact need his help. She, turns into the Hulk on accident twice in the series. Him being a big Daredevil fan, I didn't get to watch the show while it was not airing because it's still on Netflix, but while it was popular and new. I didn't watch it, so I didn't have that much attachment to the character. But I will say, when that episode aired, a lot of people on Twitter were going crazy. Oh my God, it's Daredevil! They're finally gonna take the series somewhere. Spoiler alert: it got canceled. Don't know what they're gonna do with it. And
wait,
when I say yeah, it
what
got
got
canceled.
canceled? What are you talking about?
She-Hulk, She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, well I that doesn't surprise me. It got a lot of backlash, mostly from like men complaining, but honestly, it's not just that. It's just like I don't care if you're a female lead. It's a great if it's a great show. It's a great show. I actually enjoyed my time quite a bit with She-Hulk. It's funny, but I think it's like on the lower tier of Marvel shows.
I don't want to get into it here. This could be like a whole episode, honestly. But the CG was not up to snuff. The way they wrote the
No.
character, the way they were making fun of the fans, like again, I can't speak for everyone, but I will say I do see like a lot of men whenever there's like a female lead in the movie. Oh, this is gonna stink. This is how it is. Or when they change
Yes.
characters
Yes.
from men to women or from this race to another race, you have a certain demographic of people that are upset about that. I'm one of those people. I love when you stick to the source material unless it makes sense to change it. And just the way they wrote She-Hulk, I didn't. I'm not gonna say I hated it, but I didn't love it either because like I love She-Hulk. It's a big buff woman. What's not to love?
Oh yeah, that's he's got a type by the way.
But God, because
Yes,
the
I will
show,
say. Yeah. Sorry, you go ahead.
I think they handled She-Hulk in better. And I am probably biased because of the animated show, but Hulk and the Agents of Smash, I loved her character in that. And then even on the VHS I had, She-Hulk, she was in, or at least Jennifer Walters, the character, was in the old '80s Hulk cartoon that I watched. But they did have a She-Hulk cartoon that she was in. Her characterization there was great. They had so much source material to go off of, and they kind of went at it at a different direction to kind of, they took it. I mean, the show literally, went out of its way to, take shots at these certain people that were gonna hate it. But when you do stuff like that, seemingly out of nowhere and for no reason, like they initiated the first strike initially, if that's what you want to go by. When you do that for no reason, you kind of do upset these people. So I mean,
Right.
your fan base and these demographic of people that don't like these types of shows when you do a female lead is in that fan base your demographic that you're targeting. So I wouldn't say make it more palatable to them, but just know your audience. Go off the source material. You had a bunch that you could have gone off of. You didn't need to change everything. But I will say I love the cameos. And they initially said, oh, there's not going to be a lot of cameos, there's not going to be a lot of high stakes in this show. But I mean, aside for like 2 episodes, there was a bunch of cameos. I love the cameos in the show.
And
Um,
it's not
yeah,
really as bad, I think, as people make out. Like I said, it's lower tier Marvel original TV shows for me, but that's not to take away from the lead actress Tatiana Maslany. I
uh,
think she is
Mansley.
perfect. Yeah, she is perfect casting to me as She-Hulk, and I think she did a great job, and her comedic timing is very good on the show. It's not like we have a problem with her. It's mostly for me the writing of the show felt kind of lackluster and lazy, and she's the main character, and her CGI looked the worst, which is crazy because if you compare her to the Hulk on the show, his CGI looked great. Um, and like you said, I'm a really big Daredevil fanatic, and I think Netflix's Daredevil is the best comic book superhero show we've ever got by a pretty large margin. It's very, very good, and for that reason, I kept watching to see him. But some things I wasn't keen on was the way they kind of nerfed down the abomination, right?
Abomination. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like what they did with that character at all. It didn't make sense for who he is. I love his actor though, Tim Roth. I've always been a big fan of him, but I don't know. Disney Plus has an issue with Marvel. Like they try to make everything friendly, kid friendly, and accessible to everybody. And I don't think everything has to be, but it's like most people that's watching this stuff is huge fans and knows the history of the character. So it's like you don't have to nerf down every character. You get what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say that was a Disney Plus problem. I think that was a Phase 4 problem. We
Phase
had
four,
just got
yeah.
off of Thanos and that whole saga, and we killed off one of the biggest Marvel superheroes, uh, Tony Stark. I think what they were trying to do is, like lighten you up. And it's kind of like a prevalent thing, at least in storytelling. You get to the arc, you get the big stakes, you win. There's peace for a little bit, and we're getting the Kang dynasty and everything like that. So they're trying to raise back up the stakes, but in order for the stakes to have been raised, there had to be in a time for peace and stuff like that. But I feel
Yes.
like they could
But
have better utilized She-Hulk to introduce the Red Hulk. because I want to say
Yes, yes.
he's going to be a major character to play in a upcoming movie. Um, there was a bunch of old villains that from Hulk's past that they could have used here. I forget, I'm blanking on the name right now, but again, Hulk's Agents of Smash. They introduced Scar, Hulk's son, but now that the show is canceled, I don't even know if that's canon or what they're gonna do with that. But they did introduce Scar. So there's Scar, but there was A Bomb, and then there's She Hulk, obviously. Then there's Red Hulk, but I think he's gonna be a villain starting out. Um, Abomination wasn't a part of that team, but they had Abomination, and there was somebody else I'm forgetting. But there's so many villains and stuff from Hulk's Rogues Gallery because we didn't get a Hulk movie. I mean, we had a Hulk movie, but it wasn't.
It
When they
wasn't
started Iron Man,
MCU's really.
yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't technically MCU, but they
Yeah.
added it anyway retroactively. But we
Mm.
didn't get anything on the Hulk, and he was in the Avengers. He's like a big part of the Avengers, and they just done him so dirty. So for them to make a She-Hulk, show, they could have done something with that to add in the Hulk. And I know it's called She-Hulk, not Hulk, She-Hulk. But they could have done, more to flesh out Hulk's character because I want to say we're probably not going to see him like that after this
No.
whole Scar
He
thing. Because there's what Earthbreaker Hulk or something like that they could have done, and they kind of were hinting at it, but I don't think we're going to get it because the show's
now
canceled.
there is rumors though that we could get a solo Hulk movie because
We need it.
he was tied up. The Hulk property was tied up with a deal. I forget what it was, but
Universal probably.
yes, but it's I think 2024 is when that runs out and they can make more content. And we could go on about this forever. We'll probably do a whole podcast because
Marvel is the shit.
MCU Phase 4 was really a mess all around. And even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the show, I am disappointed it got canceled because I think it was good enough to be improved on, you know.
Yeah, it felt like a cop out to just cancel it instead of do better. But my last honorable mention, Tales of the Jedi.
Oh,
Shocker for
that's
me. I mean,
that was
it's not
shocking.
like I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I'm not like Sonic level. Like my Sonic knowledge. I just spewed a whole bunch of earlier about that. My
Yes,
level of
yeah.
like Star Wars isn't like on that level. But there are like a few episodes that stuck out to me, like mainly when we see what was it? I forget the goddamn. See, I'm blanking on the names.
Ahsoka,
But no, I want to say it was Dooku.
Dooku, yeah, Count
Paducah.
Dooku,
See,
yeah,
yeah,
Count
there
Dooku.
was a bunch that was spoiled for me on Twitter, and that's what initially got me into the show. Because again, Star Wars fan, but I only like really Ahsoka. Come on,
Yeah,
daddy,
he's yeah.
muscular woman.
That's all him.
Again, come on. But no, I like Clone Wars. I own the DVD. That's what got me into Star Wars. Not the animated series. I'm talking about the actual movie,
The movie,
Episode
yeah.
Two. I went back and watched the older ones, at least the first two Star Wars films. I played a couple of the games, Battlefront 2, and then there was one on the DS I played. I forget what it was, but so I'm familiar with Star Wars. But my favorite series is probably that animated, not Gendy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, but the one that was on Cartoon Network for a long time. And I'm glad we got to see, they're kind of finishing off that arc, and then you have what is it, Bad Batch 2.
Yeah, and
But
Rebels. Yeah.
yeah, there's a bunch, honestly.
There's so much
Uh,
Star Wars. Yeah.
they're eating now. Well, in terms of quality, I don't know if you're eating, but I'll say there's a lot of Star Wars media. But Tales of the Jedi really stuck out because they're giving these backstories or fleshing out these characters that we
Mm.
got to see a little of, and I just love whenever they're fleshing out the world because the world building in Star Wars, like it or not, is like it, it's just big. It's huge. I don't even know what.
Yeah,
It's just a
yeah.
large scale. I don't even like.
We've
I'm at
not
a
seen
loss for
all of it.
words.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
not seen all of it still. Yeah.
it's crazy. I say all that to say this. So by my list, you see I'm a big fan of story, I'm a big fan of music, a big fan of animation in these shows, and lore and world building. So what is my number one?
Here we go.
Can we get much higher? That's right, One Piece. The One Piece is real. I gotta say this.
What?
Yeah, One Piece.
What? Didn't you just pick this up?
I just picked it up. Well,
Wow.
I didn't just pick it up. I picked it up, dropped it because it was like, One Piece is like at a
It's
thousand
overwhelming.
episodes now.
Yeah.
So you got to pick it up. At least for me, I got to pick it up, drop it, pick it back up, and drop it. So I'm at Water 7, Enos Lobby, around there. I love what I see. And I've had the Wano arc spoiled for me, Dress Rosa spoiled for me on Twitter. This was another anime. Like I know pretty much everything out there is to know about One Piece. Like not obviously I can't go into detail about the lore, the characters and stuff, but I know the timeline basically
Mhm.
because I've had it spoiled for me on Twitter. There's been a bunch of shit that's been spoiled for me on Twitter. So I know of One Piece. I love the animation, at least this style, because like the earlier stuff of One Piece I did not like. But the
Didn't
art
it
style grows on
start
you.
in the 90s? One
99.
Piece? 99. Yeah, so this
Really
show
earlier
is
than that, there was an
very
OVA.
it's very daunting. Um I think we were both on the same boat. We just didn't want to pick it up because it's overwhelming amount of episodes, and I've only heard good things about it, but I'm afraid to start it, and I'm afraid of all the filler because I hear a lot of fillers in the show.
Here's the thing, though. You must got the wrong show. I think you're thinking of Naruto and Boruto. With One Piece, there's like a small amount of filler, but the way the anime company does it or studio does it, like the filler isn't just like a one-off. Oh, we didn't want to animate this, so here's a break episode. They actually write the filler characters into the story later on. So there
Oh,
is
really?
filler. Yeah, there is filler, but it doesn't feel like filler because they're written in later and they actually have like a fleshed out backstory and stuff like that. Like you will cry at some of these moments.
Oh,
Once you get
shit.
past the goofy art style, it's a really good show. And again, I hate saying this because I've seen so many people say it, but it's kind of true. Uh, it takes a good amount of episodes to get good in the show, and I think
Heard
for
something
me,
crazy like 100 episodes, somebody
yeah,
said.
that's where it
Yeah,
got good for
really?
me. Yeah,
See, if
uh,
it's like I don't know if I could stick with it if like I'm already 50 episodes in and I'm not feeling it.
it's not for the faint of heart. And again, what I kind of hate is the pacing of the show. That's the only negative because the show starts. It's like 30 minutes. The intro is probably 2 minutes, like the opening. We are. The opening is 2 minutes. Once you get past episode one, because they can't recap you on the first episode, but episode two, that you get the 2 minute opening, maybe a 2 minute recap, and then at the end there's like a 2 minute previously, not previously on, but coming next or what's this, and then you get the 2 minute ending. So like a lot of that in between is like not filler, but like there's a lot of space in between that I wish they just cut short. Like if Dragon Ball had its run, and it kind of did the same thing, and then we got Dragon Ball Z Kai, which shortened some of that stuff that was unnecessary. If we got like a One Piece Kai, I feel like there would be a lot more One Piece fans out there. We just need to
Man, but
shorten it.
the fan base is huge, but I'm not a fan of the recaps every single episode. I know a lot of times it was for TV, but like I'm a pretty big fan of Hunter x Hunter. And there would be like 3 minute recaps every single episode, and it's like
That's just anime.
we're binging this. You know what I mean?
No, that's the thing.
But
People would watch these like the only it's a bad thing in Japan. They're called otakus, and here we call them weebs. But you're not supposed to
yeah,
watch these shows like that because you're a shut in at that point. You're watching maybe years worth of content, and like, and when I say years, it's because they release seasonal these animes. Like you see how it's getting released now. So people are
right,
watching years
yeah,
worth of content in the span of like a week. You're not supposed to do that. So that's what the recap is for because it would be shown
I get
weekly.
that. Yeah, it's good because sometimes, I mean, not often, but like sometimes I'll take a hiatus from an anime I'm watching. Like right now, I'm currently watching Black Clover, and watched a ton of episodes, but I've been taking a break from it. So the recaps are good, but it's like on streaming services, especially, a lot of people are just binging.
I will say at least Netflix is good about like letting you skip, but I can't say the same for other streaming services and stuff like that. But once you like, I'm not singling nobody out here, but once you're like a good dedicated veteran of anime, the timestamps to skip. If it's the opening like 158, if you're skipping recap or something like that, maybe you're like 2 or 3 minutes into the show. You know where to skip around at. You
Yeah.
know.
And and if you don't, like I stream mine through Crunchyroll or Hulu, and on Crunchyroll, like they allow comments. Funny enough, like I've never seen that on a streaming service, but they'll tell you like skip to this. It's just recap, yeah. But I'm very surprised that that's your number one.
Yeah, I mean, Wano Arc really it carried Twitter this year.
Oh
So
yeah, man. All right, so now I'm gonna recap my top 10, and then I'll go into honorable mentions. So at number 10, I had Chainsaw Man. Number 9, I had The Rehearsal. At number 8, I had Peacemaker. At 6, I had One Punch Man. At 5, I had The Bear. At 4, I had Barry season 3. And at 3, I had Atlanta season 4. And 2, I had Severance. Now, before I go into my number 1, here are some of my honorable mentions. As I mentioned, I started Black Clover, so I would highly recommend that to anybody, especially if you like underdog stories, like a really good underdog stories. And this is a really good one. And like I said in a previous podcast, I'm really into medieval time period. So this is kind of right down my alley. And I'm into bad boards and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm,
Ironic.
yeah. So it like, this is honestly like a match made in heaven for me. And I would highly recommend it for anybody. My second recommendation would be Stranger Things, the newest season. I actually forgot that it came out this year
Me
and
too.
until just now. Which is bad because that was the best season of Stranger Things, season 4. And it was broken down to 2 parts, and it was like a worldwide phenomenon, like because everybody was talking about it. Um, but it's the best acted season, I believe, and best story plot. It's so good. I don't know how they keep pulling it off. Yeah, man. I just realized it came out because this would have been probably in my top 5, honestly. But yeah, that's kind of my last recommendation or honorable mention. Besides maybe the show starring Andrew Garfield, it's called Under the Banner of Heaven, and it's on Hulu. And I'm a big Andrew Garfield fan. I think he did a great job as Spider Man. I love him as Spider Man. I won't go into that too much. We could, because we love Spider Man. We'll probably have a whole podcast talking about the Spider Man, you know. But he does really
It's
good.
Spider Man.
The Spider Man. The spider want to come out to play. But Under the Banner of Heaven is it follows around police officers kind of stopping a cult. So uh take away what you will with that. I've still not finished it. It's very good though. But yeah. So that's it. Oh, one more anime I kind of want to shout out is one I started recently. It's Fruits Basket. I don't know if you heard about that one.
I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it. Probably
It's a
won't.
very, very slice of life and type anime, and I really like that sometimes. The sadder, the better, you know. But this one is very intriguing and good. I'm still waiting for it to kind of like click with me because I'm almost done with the season and it's still kind of like it's good, but it's not all the way there. But I just wanted to shout that out. But my number 1 drum roll is a House of the Dragon. Now,
God.
yeah. So I am a huge Game of Thrones fanatic, and I'm I've rewatched it almost all the way. I've been rewatching it. I as soon as I finished House of the Dragon, I went back and started rewatching Game of Thrones because it's just I'm so into it, and I'm very into story and drama and fantasy and medieval, as I said. So this is my perfect type of show. And nobody does drama like House of the Dragon does. And there was so much pressure on this show because the last season of Game of Thrones, even if you don't watch it, you probably know, got a lot of flack for it. People thought it was the greatest show on television in history until the last season because they didn't have any more source material, so they just made up an ending. But this one is different because House of the Dragon, um, it's crazy. This show is it's a prequel to Game of Thrones, and it takes place 200 years before Game of Thrones. But there the book, like the chapter that this is based off of, is only like a few hundred pages, but they're making an entire season. So George R. Martin, the author of the book, is actually signing off and writing like for the for the show. So you know it's gonna be good, and he is to me the best at world building that I've ever seen. Like we were talking about on our video game podcast, he did Elden Ring and stuff like that. But yeah, I think when it comes to acting and like quality on television, you can't match the Game of Thrones universe because the acting is just on a whole different level. Uh, Especially Matt Smith. He's a lead role in the show. But yeah, man, it's my number 1. It's perfect. I'm amazed with it. They really pulled it off too. Yeah, and Kendall's kind of laughing at me because yeah, I'm really nerdy. Yeah.
I'm laughing at the medieval stuff. And then I thought about the Starbucks cup that they had in that last season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, see stuff like that. It was a phenomenon, and I didn't watch it when it came out. It was just recently. The past few years, I binge watched it, and I just been obsessed with that world, and I can't get enough, man. There's no show like it. Like something crazy will happen, either disgusting or vile that you would just never see on anything else. It's just it's so out there, but
Man said
I
vile.
yeah, it is like so in this there's a lot to do this first season of House of the Dragon for birthing. There's a lot of birthing scenes, and like it has to do with that being a woman and stuff like that. So, but there is no like holding your hand in this universe. You're just gonna see it. Yeah. So, but it's cool because House of the Dragon won the Golden Globe for best drama series, which was a huge win because they won over Better Call Saul, which is crazy. Um,
Oh man, the
yeah.
memes.
Yeah, but that is a show that I've still not seen the last season of because it's not on Netflix yet. But I'm a huge Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul fan. Open the door. Okay, I won't.
Yeah, okay. So what's your recommendation for shows here?
Yeah, so for people that don't know, we're doing this thing on each podcast where we recommend each other something from the topic we're talking about. And today is TV shows and movies. And we always recommend each other stuff, but we don't watch it. So with this podcast, it's a mandatory thing. If we recommend it to you, you have to watch it or whatever it is.
Within
And
reason.
yeah, and then we're gonna discuss it later on and say what we liked and didn't like about it. So I went easy. Okay. I didn't do something wild
I
like
swear to
you.
God, if it's Game of Thrones or something, bro.
Yeah, all 8 seasons.
I'm telling you now, I'm not.
No, it's mandatory. So you have to.
No.
Nah, so within reason. So I wouldn't recommend you that because that's a lot of hours. Each episode is over an hour long, basically. So my recommendation for you is The Bear, actually, on
Okay.
Hulu. I know you have Hulu, and I think you would enjoy this show quite a bit. So I went easy on you,
Well,
and I know
recommend
you.
another
Yeah,
one just because that was already in my watch list. So something fresh because
Atlanta.
I
No, I'm
did.
just. I'm just well, okay. Do you have HBO?
I have to check. I think it came with my cable subscription.
Okay, so my recommendation besides The Bear, but that's my number one recommendation for you. My second one would be Peacemaker, actually, because we're really into superheroes, and DC's lost a lot of like followers because of their quality, but this is like return to form and some of the best DC I've ever seen, and it's up there in conversation for one of the best superhero shows I've seen too. So I would highly recommend this to you. So you better watch it.
All right. Um. Okay, my recommendation, and again, you don't have to watch the entirety, just this part. But I recommend JoJo's Bizarre Adventure
Okay.
Part 6, Stone Ocean on Netflix. Again, if you want to, like you really don't have to watch like all the seasons to
Why? No.
understand because they kind of recap everything. And because it was on Netflix, they had to get people up to speed anyway in case you didn't watch the other seasons.
Hmm.
But again, it's not that they take place in their own universe between seasons, but like most characters don't come back. Jotaro being an exception, but you'll understand when you watch it. And if you do happen to like this season and you do want to go back and watch, that's fine. Um, but if you don't want to watch that, uh, I guess Sonic Prime.
Well, no. I'm gonna stick with your original because I'm actually glad you recommended that for me because I've always kind of wanted to watch it, but I never would have unless you were doing this. So I'm glad you giving me that.
There's a reason I said Stone Ocean, not just because we talked about it today, but like to me, at least, out of what we have, because I'm not gonna ask you to read, but Stone Ocean is by far the weirdest. in
Yeah.
terms of like abilities and what the characters do. So it's the weirdest. If you can get used to that and you actually walk around and like that, the first other 5 seasons shouldn't be no issue
Well,
because
I mean,
part 6 is weird.
obviously, I like the weird stuff. Look at all the stuff I recommend is pretty weird. So,
But this is bizarre. This is bizarre. It's some crazy shit. Again, this is not one you watch with your family or even out loud.
really,
Watch it in English.
is it safe to watch with my dog? You think, or should I
No,
not?
actually, the JoJo's has a weird thing where they like to kill dogs. So in
Oh
part
my god! I was
part
just kidding.
part 1, part 3, and part 4, no, part 5, dogs get the end of the stick, bro.
Oh my god!
Yeah, in part 1, it's a minor spoiler, but the main antagonist shoves a dude's beloved dog into a furnace while it's on.
Why?
Yeah, so
Why?
don't watch
What?
it with your dog.
What is this melody? Is that from that show?
No, 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 that's
What is that?
Overwatch.
That's a,
You'll probably know.
what is this?
Is this a JoJo reference? Kono Diada. That I said that completely wrong, but it's a bunch. Usually, if it says, "Oh, this is this a JoJo reference?" That's from JoJo's. The
All
fans
right.
aren't. Yeah, the fans aren't that original.
Well, I'll definitely check it out because I have to. So, well, that concludes the TV segment of this podcast. Now we're gonna go into movies, and don't worry if you've been listening for a while. This is only we decided to narrow it down to 5 films to make it a little more interesting, and you know. So we're gonna go through and give our top 5 films that we watched in 2022. And for me, the list I do are in order because I like the stakes and stuff. But I don't know about you, Kendall. Is yours top 5 or did you just do your
I
favorites?
did just my favorites.
All right. Well, you want to start off and give me your number 5 film of 2022?
Okay, honestly, a late entry here, but like again, I got spoiled, so I had to watch it. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Oh, hell yeah.
Great. And here's the thing: I've seen this debate on Facebook, so I'm gonna put this here now. There's a difference between a villain and an antagonist. This movie had a great villain, or an okay villain, in the form of Jack Horner, who wanted to hoard magic so nobody else could have any more magic. And then they had a great antagonist, which was Death. Again, minor spoilers, but he literally, if you've seen anything like I have on TikTok, Twitter, you've probably already seen this stuff. Excuse me. But there's a difference between villain and antagonist. Jack Horner is the villain in the story. He directly goes against Puss in Boots and the gang because they're actively fighting for the magic MacGuffin. That's not what it's called. I just don't want to spoil the premise. But they're actively fighting over something in this film. Whereas the antagonist, Death, just wants to fight Puss in Boots because he's taken life. He's on his last life in this movie. That's already been spoiled, so that's not necessarily a spoiler.
No,
But he's
yeah.
on his last life and he's not taking life serious. So it's a battle of ideals. And because death is a force of nature, it comes for everybody the same. Spoiler alert there. Everybody dies one day. Because it's death, he is an antagonist. He is a force of nature. He's not, going against Puss in Boots because he hates him, but that's just death's natural role in life. So just get that out there.
That from I've still not been able to go see it yet in theaters, so I don't know how you watched it, but
Yeah, magic.
but yes, I plan on seeing this very soon, and everything I've seen from it has been awesome. Like the animation style is just breathtaking. It reminds me of like the innovation of like Spider-Verse. It's like a new thing on the big screen. So that's a great one, man. Wait, how did you watch it, sir? Can I?
Mainly through TikTok. Like they literally spoiled. There's somebody who posted like literally every part of it. But I went elsewhere to find it.
It was a AMC theater, perhaps, or
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
something like
okay.
that.
Just to
It was
be
it was in a theater far, far away.
that was a great pull. Oh man. Well, I'm excited to see it. My number 5 is Nope by Jordan Peele. And Me and Kendall both are really big Jordan Peele fans because of their show Key and Peele. We're really into that. But Jordan Peele as a director, he's become like top three directors for me, and I've just loved every single thing I've seen from him. Get Out. I still haven't seen all of Us yet, but I really enjoyed what I've seen. But he is just so unique in his directing because it's dark most of the stuff he does, but it's comedical too at times. Like in Nope, I can't spoil it because I know a lot of people maybe not still seen it, but it is a really good movie. I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars, and I just really enjoyed my time with it. And it's I'm really big into space and aliens and stuff like that, so it's really cool to see that. And the acting was great. Kiki Palmer was just so good, and she did a really good job in this. And it's good to see her get like more serious roles and roles in general because like you don't really see much from her besides like she hosts stuff. So I think this is gonna set her career off in a new direction. And Daniel Kaluuya, I think's how you pronounce his name. He's great as always. He's so good at subtle acting. He does. I wouldn't say he has a lot of dialogue in this movie, but he does a lot of facial acting. And yeah, man, just shout out to Jordan Peele for giving us another. I think what will be a classic.
All right. So, I mentioned this earlier, so it shouldn't be any surprise. And again, you're gonna get tired. I told you you're gonna get tired. My number four is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Knock knock is Knuckles, man. Like, bro, Knuckles is one of my favorite Sonic characters, and they actually done his character right. This has been like a huge problem in recent, with the Sonic fan base. We didn't like the characterization in Boom. Some of the modern games, they fixed them in Frontiers. I'd say they fixed them because Ian Flynn is doing the writing this time around. But they played him as a goofball, an idiot. He's just a musclehead junkie. Knuckles' original character, he was gullible, but that's because of the foreshadowing in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. All they had was a mural, and there were two people fighting, Eggman and Chaos. Or I think there was a bunch of different murals, but there was one with Eggman, and there was one with Sonic. Just looking at a mural, you're the last of your kind. You don't know who to believe. So when one crashes and crashes and tells you, "Oh, this madman's chasing me," you're probably gonna believe the first guy first. So he did fall for Eggman's tricks maybe a number like 3 times. He's gullible, but he's not dumb. So they actually made his character. It was weird in this movie because again, this was Eggman and Knuckles' first encounter, so you had to make him gullible again. That's literally how Eggman and Knuckles meet. That's set in stone. He's gonna fall for it for the first time. But once he learns of Eggman's tricks, he teams up with Sonic reluctantly. And that stays true to the source material. And they team. I'm spoiling the movie, but you should have seen it by now. I don't care. Um,
Yeah,
so they team up and fight Dr. Eggman. And we get to see Supersonic, the Chaos Emeralds. The way they were done in here is a little weird, a little different. But this is a different universe, like we said earlier, so I'm fine with it because Supersonic looks great. And all I can think of is just like, what if the fans didn't complain on that Sonic 1 movie? I can tell you this: we wouldn't have got the sequel. And two, if we did, Supersonic would have looked atrocious, let alone Knuckles and Tails. And this brings up another, argument here. It has nothing to do, I guess, with film and TV. But when you're doing video game movies or just stuff where there's a voice actor already, I don't like when they hire outside people. So the fact that they got Colleen O'Shaughnessy or Tails voice actor, it was a good start. I really wish we would have got Knuckles voice actor from the games, but they were changing him at the time because I forget. I can't tell you what his name is now, but
Idris
I
Elba
follow.
though, man.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about for the games. I
No,
forget
I'm
his
just saying.
name.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't think Idris did that good of a job. Like
you
he's
didn't like him?
good,
Wow.
but it's like he still came off as British. I know Idris Elba is British, but like I don't like that for Knuckles. But I
Yeah,
will say it's better than the Knuckles we got for Sonic Prime, but not by that much. But I'm just used to what's his name? Travis Willingham's Knuckles. And so that would have been 2008 Sonic Unleashed around that era. But I like Travis Willingham Knuckles. That's my personal favorite. I'm mad we're not getting him back. But yeah. Back to voice actors in video games. When they already have an established voice actor, I really wish they would go with the established voice actor and not just hire the big name because now we get like Chris Pratt as Mario.
Mario. Yeah,
So yeah.
I kind of agree. Especially with Mario, man. His voice is so iconic, and then you just got Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt. You know, low Boston accent maybe. That's about it. But how do you feel about Sonic? Like his voice acting?
And he's another weird thing. Like I said, around this time, after Colors re-released, a lot of the voice actors quit or walked away from the roles. So, especially Sonic's voice actor, Roger Craig Smith, because everybody hated him and they voiced their opinion on that. And they were very vocal about that. I liked him. I understood it was poor direction and not his voice that, was terrible. Um, but I knew he was going to be replaced, and plus it's a movie, so the main character usually is going to get erased. But something to note: the Japanese version of the movie, the actual Japanese voice actor for Sonic, who's been the same guy for years, got to play Sonic. So there's no reason they couldn't have did it here.
What is the guy's name that voices Sonic? I actually quite like him as Sonic. I think he does a really well job.
So hold on, because I forget his name right now. But he was in another movie that's on my
Yes.
list.
So
It's
I
a
know him from being on Parks and Rec as John Ralphio, and I quite like him as Sonic because I don't know too much about Sonic like I've stated before, but playing games and stuff, I think he hit his likeness and like childlike aspects pretty well, in my
You
opinion.
can tell when I don't like the voice actor because I don't even commit their name to memory. What is his name?
I'm gonna just
Oh
research it
man.
real quick.
Don't tell me when you get it because I know it.
But yeah,
Ben Schwartz. Ben Schwartz.
yes, Ben Schwartz. I actually quite liked him as Sonic. I think he gave the movie a lot of life. But this is coming from somebody just as a moviegoer and not like a Sonic fan. Because I quite enjoyed both Sonic movies. Um, the problem I have with the second one, I enjoyed my time with it, but it was mostly like from a movie's aspect. It was I had fun with it, but it was the story and kind of the plot and pacing I had a little issues with. But overall, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I hated about the movie was the humans being there.
Yeah,
But I understand what you're talking about with the voice acting because Sonic is meant to be younger in these movies because it's like early Sonic. This is still the 2D era of Sonic, which is weird because we're getting a huge time jump with Shadows being in the third movie, and that's when we get like a more mature Sonic. But that would have been Ryan Drummond's Sonic from Sonic Adventure 2. But yeah, Ben Schwartz is great for young Sonic, but I don't see them changing. Now they might tell him to
I
change
don't think
voice
so
direction
either.
and age, like age up his voice. But I don't think they'll change him
Yes,
just
yeah.
because he does bring a lot of life to the character. And if it worked, the first two times, don't fix what's not broken. Um, but I don't know what they're gonna do for Tails' voice actor. I heard that they might change Colleen's voice, but I don't know.
Right. And, I've seen mostly outpouring praise for Ben Schwartz in this role. Like, most people voice their opinion very highly when it comes to, like, well known legacy characters like this. But really, I've seen him get nothing but, like, approval in a way.
Yeah.
Do we know the voice actor for Shadow yet, though?
Not yet, but Kirk Thornton voices his game counterpart, but that was recently. His old voice actor before Generations was Jason Griffith. So Jason Griffith was voicing Sonic, Shadow, Jet the Hawk, a bunch of characters. I think that was it. But yeah, so Jason Griffith was voicing Shadow as well, and then we got Kirk Thornton from Generations Forward, and his voice is kind of like this, and it's dark and sinister, but it wasn't Shadow. Shadow sounded like this the whole time in like Adventure 2. But Kirk Thornton's good.
Damn.
I
All right.
like him, but I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Man, they should just hire you. You kind of hit that impression pretty good.
That damn hedgehog of all places. Look, man, I'm a Sonic fan. I love doing the impressions, man.
What?
You
All
know
right.
this.
What? One more thing before we move on to my number four. How do you feel about Jim Carrey?
Perfect as Robotnik. I didn't think because I was like, Robotnik's fat. Robotnik is also Eggman. He was named Ivo Robotnik in the Japanese, and then Sonic called him Eggman, and he was always known as Eggman in America. But later the Japanese adapted Eggman later on, so I'm gonna call him Robotnik Eggman, whatever, interchangeable. But I didn't think he'd make a great Eggman. But he did. I guess it's because his mannerisms and stuff. Because Jim Carrey's a face.
Yes, yeah.
He does
He's
the
a
voices,
very
the
yeah.
faces, and everything. But I thought they were gonna put a fat suit on him and make him look stupid. I'm glad they didn't go that route.
Yeah, me too. And I think he did a really, really good job. But I'm just like a huge Jim Carrey fan, so I didn't know if I was in the minority.
No, everybody seemed to love him. We're kind of upset because they kind of killed his character off. He's like, I may or may not come back for the next film.
He
So I
yeah,
mean,
and he's just so good at doing like caricatures, like the Grinch and stuff. Like where he
well, it's
gets to
just,
exaggerate.
and I thought that was cosmetics, but that was him. But
No, that's all him. Yeah,
the thing is, like Eggman, actually, Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik are like very integral to the next part of the movie. So I really hope they got him. Is
yeah,
all I'm gonna
and
say.
it's just funny because Jim Carrey recently spoke about he's retiring from acting, and if he did, it's funny because his last movie would be
I
Sonic 2.
do.
So, anyways, that's a great pick. Um, Going into my number four, I have On the Count of Three. This is a movie that flew way under the radar. I think I just stumbled upon it on Hulu. Um, Apparently, it got released way a few years ago, but it's just now getting a wide release. So it's the first I've ever seen it. It stars Jared Carmichael. People might know him because he does some he's on Tyler the Creator's album Igor, and he's got that very popular speech about you gotta close the door to open a window. That's him. That's his
Was
voice.
he the same dude from the Carmichael Show?
You know what? I actually don't know. I don't. I don't think so. But he just recently hosted the Golden Globes as well.
Yeah, same guy then. Same guy.
That's him. Okay, yeah. So I'm not familiar with a lot of his work, but everything I've seen, I've just been very impressed with. So the premises of the movie, as I said, you can watch it on Hulu. Um, the premise is it follows these two best friends. One's in like a mental hospital because he tried to kill himself, and Jared's um character that he plays is going through a depressive state with his girlfriend and stuff. So basically, the plot is they both want to kill themselves, but they don't want to do it alone. It's a dark movie. It's very sad. I teared up for sure. It got to me. But basically, they plan on killing each other, but they're gonna have one last hurrah and have a day together and do everything that they want. This movie also stars Winkler, Henry Winkler, right? Is that what
Yeah.
what it was? Yeah, it stars him again as a therapist, and I just can't recommend this movie enough. So check it out.
So I know what you're talking about. I didn't know the title, but I did see there was one scene where they're pointing finger guns at each other.
Yeah,
I've seen
so
that scene on TikTok
yeah.
actually. So
So yeah, the one friend he tried to kill himself a few times, but he doesn't succeed. So they're like, let's just do it together and shoot each other on the count of three. So
oh, was it real guns? I thought it was finger guns I saw.
that no, they were playing, but yeah, they I don't want to spoil it, but yes, that's how they plan on killing each other.
Okay,
It
okay.
also it also stars JB Smoove. A lot of people know him from Spider-Man,
And Curb Your
Homecoming,
Enthusiasm.
and yeah, so he's really funny.
All right. So my number three is Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Now, a lot of people didn't like the CGI animation, and I will admit it was jarring at first, but it worked out. Another gripe people had was bringing Cell back because at this point they brought back Frieza like at least two other times, and then they're bringing back Cell. You like they want original villains, and technically it wasn't the same Cell. It was like not a clone. It was just like a replica of Cell, but then they added more, so it's called Cell Max. But the main thing people liked was Gohan finally got his shot again. He had been skipping his training and he was weak as hell. He finally got a new form that surpassed even Goku and Vegeta, and I think Broly's too. But there are new transformations in the manga, so I think Gohan Beast might be stronger than Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta, and obviously Berserker Broly. Uh, but then Piccolo of all people also got his I'm gonna call it his orange chicken transformation, but he turns orange. He turns orange, and for the first time in a while, we've seen him turn giant again. Like Namekians, like
Wow.
have like a varied skill set. They have stretchy limbs. They don't need food, but they survive off of water. They can clone themselves. Because Piccolo Junior is a clone of King Piccolo, the evil Piccolo. they have a bunch of abilities and stuff, and they can make the Dragon Ball. So this sets like a new part of the lore to Dragon Ball, because apparently now the Namekians weren't as we knew them to be, and they actually have connections to the gods, like their lesser Kaioshins, if that makes sense. And they because of that, because Piccolo made the Dragon Balls when he wished to get stronger, because he's he lost the fight. I think the wish triggered and he got his transformation. Like he technically wished for a transformation, but he kind of earned it, if it makes sense. At least my understanding. But we got two new forms from two people that we wanted to see for a long time, and they finally deserve it. It's just now we're waiting on Dragon Ball Super, the anime, to come back and put things in the canon, and what goes here, what goes there, type deal. But as far as I know, these transformations are canon, and they're the strongest forms right now. Now, obviously, Beast Gohan is stronger than Orange Piccolo, but now these fighters are back on a level with Goku and Vegeta, and it's not just a Goku Vegeta show. And because we're battling gods, like literally, Dragon Ball Z Super was the first movie was Battle of Gods. Everybody aside from Goku couldn't fight no more, so everybody was just sitting on the sidelines, standing and watching. But now we have two more fighters, so that at least puts like four people back on the roster. Or yeah, four. It puts four people on the roster, not back, because Goku and Vegeta never left. But yeah, it made a lot of fans happy despite the CGI.
Yeah, man, the that movie did very well in theaters. So, anime movies have really been doing well the last few years, and fans have been showing up. I've still not seen it though. I've never been like that into Dragon Ball, but
Eren Yeager.
yeah, that's yeah, I like that though. But
I'm talking about when people went to go see it was another
oh
Dragon Ball movie.
yeah,
They was in a theater. Eren Yeager.
the,
So annoying.
yeah, that's the thing with anime fans is it could be kind of cringy or like you
A
feel
lot.
uncomfortable in a theater with them.
They
Um,
stink.
yeah, they stink. I went to see a Demon Slayer movie
That's what it
with
was. Demon
yeah,
Slayer.
yeah. I went and saw that with a few friends, man, and it is kind of uncomfortable because like some of the fans just start shouting out random references and stuff. And like it says, it's kind of a stench.
That smelly smell, that kind of smell. Yeah,
What is that smell?
yeah, so
That glorious smell. But yeah,
glorious.
you walk in the theater and it just kind of like wafts you right in the face. But I kind of like watching those at home more because
Yeah.
I smell good. I
Yeah.
shower daily, so
Yeah, that's why I say I wait for those to hit the streaming services.
yeah.
I would love to show out for the theatrical releases, but it's just I don't, I'm not a big movie theater person, especially after COVID.
I
Uh,
yeah, and we're different in that way because like I that's one of my favorite things to do is go to the movie theater ever since I was a kid. But yeah, those movies though I'll wait till they come out after my experience. But all
Me, I
right,
just like to own the physical. I think that's more what it comes down to. What it comes down to for me. I like to touch and feel and smell the disc, the manual, not the manuals because it's not a game, but the extra little paper pamphlets that come in there. I like touching the disc.
yeah, I love
I'm
those
a
too.
collector. I'm a
And
collector.
speaking of that, like you know how it's kind of going away though. It's sad, like in the video game world, especially. You don't really get the cool booklets anymore with like pictures and like GTA would give you the map and stuff like
Yep.
that. So it's like that's sad.
And
We're
they're
yeah
still charging you full price.
yes. I think it's the worst with Switch because you get this big case and then it's at the bottom it's just this tiny little game cartridge. But sorry, getting off topic. Uh, Going back to my list at number three, I have Banshees of Inisherin. Now, like, Kendall's looking at me really wild because he has no idea about this movie. But I'm very into slow burn stories. A lot of people, it's not for a lot of people. This movie is slow, very very slow. It follows two best friends in Ireland. I want to say, yeah, Ireland, and it stars Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, and also Barry Keoghan. I think Keoghan is how you pronounce his name. Now, most people probably know Colin because he was also in a great movie this year as the Penguin. He was in the Batman, Man, I can't say enough about Colin, man. He's one of my favorite
You gotta show the
actors.
shirt.
Yeah, the Batman, and Barry is a small actor that's I mean, he's not a small actor. He's a very impressive actor and he's on the come up. Um People might know him because he's also in the Batman as the new Joker. Yeah, that's him. And also he's in a very acclaimed limited series Chernobyl and he's in the Eternals. So he is on the come up and he just his subtle acting again. I'm really into that kind of stuff and the movie is following two best friends in Ireland like I said, but they come at a fault and uh one of them don't want to be best friends with the other. I won't spoil anything, but it goes so far as he just keeps calling him boring. You're a boring person. And he's like, if you keep talking to me, I'm going to cut my fingers off each day, and he does exactly that. So yeah, he cuts his finger off, and he's like, each day you talk to me, there goes a finger. So
Hey,
yeah,
let me see your digits, man.
but it is a very good slow burn movie if you like that kind of thing with very story driven and very good acting. The acting's on it, it's so good, and I think it's probably my third favorite. It's at number three, but it's also my third favorite like screenplay of the year too. The writing is just very, very good. So overall, very impressed. You can stream it on HBO Max if you're interested.
All right. Never heard of it, but it sounds like a good suggestion.
You can
Uh,
see how different our tastes are. Like I'm very a film buff and like drama type person. So, but that's good,
cartoons for me. Speaking of cartoons and classics, Chip and Dale. That's right, Rescue Rangers, mother. So I
Still not
initially didn't
seen it.
even want to watch. Yeah, I didn't look.
Yeah,
I would be in your shoes. I didn't want to watch it. Uh, but I got so many ads for it on YouTube.
same. Yeah,
I want to say I got it on a couple. What was it? I don't think it was Hulu or
TikTok.
something, but
Yeah,
I got
TikTok.
ads.
Yeah,
Um, and honestly, it's gonna sound so stupid, but the thing that sold me was the original movie design for Sonic
yeah,
was in the movie. So I
yeah.
was like, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. It's Sonic. I'm gonna watch it. And I actually ended up loving the movie. But like many of us, at least my age, I didn't grow up with Chip and Dale. I think that was my parents' generation. I knew of them because I know Disney and stuff like that, but I didn't watch the Rescue Rangers show. But the movie was phenomenal. It's like a mix of live action cartoons, CG, all this stuff. But I wouldn't say it's a murder mystery. They
Is it
repurpose things,
kind of
but
like Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's like that
it's
kind of
filmed
style.
like that, yeah. And there
Yeah.
actually is a mystery to be solved. So yeah, that's a good way to describe it actually. But there's just a lot of cameos and stuff like that. A lot of good voice actors and stuff are in here. Yeah, like I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't watched it because like it's a sleeper. Like you think, oh man, this is just a stupid Disney show or a stupid Disney movie trying to cash in on our nostalgia. But it was actually a good movie. The twist when you saw it was obvious. It was obvious, and it was a bit cheesy at times. But again, it's a Disney property. It's Chip and Dale of all things too. So, but like again, the cameos is mainly why I watched, and it was hilarious. I will say the Peter Pan thing was in bad taste, especially considering what happened to the actor. But you know, Will Arnett, I believe, did the voice for Peter Pan or whatever they called him, Big Pete or something like that. But
Big P.
everybody did good. Yeah, everybody did good voice acting.
Peter.
So you know, no problems on that front. No, Will Arnett, not Willem Dafoe.
Can you
uh,
imagine?
but yeah, I like what I saw. So
Yeah, this is one that's on my list to watch. And I have no excuse because I have Disney Plus, but I've heard nothing but great recommendation and reviews for this movie. Everybody says like even if you didn't like we didn't grow up with them like he said, but everyone says it's a great movie and it's very funny. Some of the funniest stuff. I did see this stuff with the original Sonic movie design though, because that's such a meme.
it was
And
hilarious.
for them to put it in there and make fun of it is just that's amazing. All right, but my number two, surprising to no one, is the Batman. Ooh, yeah. I'm wearing the shirt for people that can't see. I'm wearing the Batman shirt. What can I say, man? I am obsessed with this movie. Um, there's no other way to say it. This movie blew me out of the water. I actually went and saw this in theaters with my mom, which is funny because it's a very dark toned movie and gritty. And coming from DC, I was nothing but nervous because every DC has kind of flopped for me movie wise. There's been projects I've enjoyed, like Shazam is good, but for us to get a grounded Batman, like, man, this is my kind of style of superhero movies that I would love to see. It casted serious actors, not just like super big name people. Like you got Colin Farrell as the Batman, who just he is the best pink. I mean, did I say the
Yeah,
Batman?
you said the
Yeah,
Batman, but
my
you said
bad.
Penguin earlier. They know what you mean.
Yeah, so Colin Farrell is casted as the Penguin, and I'm a huge Colin Farrell fan, and he just embodied the Penguin better than anybody, way better than Danny DeVito was funny. Danny DeVito's funny, and he has the shape for the Penguin. But
That's out of pocket. That's out of pocket.
you remember that scene when he's eating the
Uh,
fish and the goo's coming out?
yeah,
That
yeah.
that scarred me as a kid. But yeah, man, Colin Farrell's getting his own show as the Penguin for HBO
Right.
Max. I'm very excited for that. Matt Reeves directed this and he blew it out of the water. I wish more superhero films was grounded like this because you see the rave it's getting. It's for a damn good reason. Like, just imagine if we got more grounded movies for superheroes. Like, if we got a gritty Spider-Man movie like this, oh my god, it'd be over, bro. Now, yes, it won't work for everybody
Yeah.
because Spider-Man is obviously comical too.
Well, and
But
he also has different iterations. So like Spider-Man Noir would might maybe work.
yes, see, so that's a good point.
Or Superior Spider-Man. But this isn't Spider-Man. Batman. Go back, go back.
Yes, yes, but it works perfect because it is the Batman, and I would be happy if the DCEU went in this direction of just grounded superheroes. And I feel like if they went this way, man, that a lot of people would switch over, honestly, from Marvel because like this is like this blows out anything Marvel released this year tenfold. And I know a lot of people are skeptical of Robert Pattinson as the Batman.
He's
Um,
scrawny.
but exactly, but he put on quite a lot of muscle for this film, and it works out because it's Batman Zero basically. He's starting from the ground up, and he's a little goth boy in this movie, and I love that. Bro. Most people kept doubting,
Pause.
yeah,
Yeah.
little goth boy, but a lot of
Oh man.
people doubted him, and that's because they've only seen obviously Twilight.
And Harry Potter.
Yeah, and they haven't seen like some of his more serious roles, but I have, so I knew that this was gonna be a home run. And um, it might be a little too early to say, but he's my favorite
That's,
Batman. Yep.
I
Robert
knew it.
Pattinson is my favorite Batman. I'm also a huge fan of Paul Dano. A lot of people might know him from Prisoners, and he's in another big movie this year, directed by Steven Spielberg, The Fablemans. Um, he so Paul Dano plays the Riddler, and I love this take on the Riddler.
I mean, that's Batman.
Yeah, this take on the Riddler, he's basically like a serial killer, like vibes they gave him. What's this? What's the serial
Jeffrey
killer?
Dahmer,
No, no, no. What's the one where he did the
Zodiac killer.
Zodiac? Yes. So there's a Zodiac movie they kind of based his look off of, but it works so good in this world, and this is my favorite adaptation we've seen of Gotham City because I love the Christian Bale Batmans, and I love him as Batman, but the Gotham City kind of never felt like it did in the animated shows or in the comics even. So Matt Reeves really brought Gotham City to light, I feel like, and I can't wait for the sequels coming out. And yeah. Oh,
Well,
also
that
I really
go ahead.
loved Andy Serkis too in this as Alfred. But yeah, Andy Serkis is a really good actor, and I liked him, and Jeffrey Wright too, as James Gordon did great, and I can't recommend this movie enough. Yeah, if you're not into superhero movies and you just like serious, just watch this movie. It's
Well, you
amazing.
mentioned the animated Batman. What would you relate it to?
I don't know. Like, in the animation, it might be easier to show like the crime and stuff of the city. And we got aspects of that in other Batman movies, but this feels like a lived in world and you can really feel the ruin of Gotham City and like the darkness, the way they shot stuff. This is one of the best shot movies of the entire year. Like there's a scene where he's coming through a tunnel and he's so menacing. This is the most menacing Batman. He's like more of the Arkham series games. Everybody's terrified of him, and they really show that on screen. Um, but yeah, the scene he's coming through a tunnel and it's complete dark, but then gunshots go off, and that's what lights the scene. And that was all practical, no CGI. They did it with actual what you call it, like flares or something. But yeah.
Well, I asked that question because, like, what I've seen, I didn't see the movie, but from what I've seen and people's
Woo!
people's analysis, uh, a lot of people related it to the 2003 the Batman series from it was on CW
Okay.
Kids, and that Batman was a younger Batman, but it wasn't year one Batman type. But he was like a younger Batman. He did get a Robin, but that was like later on in the series. But his rogues gallery and Gotham, like you said, were very fleshed out.
Yes.
Excuse me. But they managed to capture the tone of Gotham. The characters were great, and that Batman, you could see he was learning with every fight, but he was like a younger Batman. And it's not so much and this guy just passed, Kevin Conroy,
Yeah,
rest his
yeah.
soul. It wasn't Kevin
Yes.
Conroy's Batman, and it wasn't Young Justice's. I know Kevin Conroy still voiced him, but Young Justice's Batman and the Justice League Batman is a different Batman than the Batman series Batman. But it was like his in his own universe. But he was still young and learning, and it was more about the him juggling, being Bruce Wayne, him juggling being a mentor to people and dealing with the villains every week. There wasn't a lot of Arkham stuff back then in that show,
No. But
but
so
there was like a lot of cameos and stuff from like it really I think that was my favorite iteration of the animated Joker because he was a crazy jester. He was like exactly what I think the Joker is, but it was just basically like to me that was like my favorite series, but it was I say all this to say this Batman seems like even coming from me, it seems like this is like going to be like a favorite soon. Not everybody likes him now, but he's being slept on, but like this Batman is like closer to like the source
so good.
material.
Yeah, so that's a good pull because I would kind of describe it as a good mix of Arkham uh games and then Batman Beyond. It gave me kind of those dark vibes too with Kevin Conroy. Um but yeah, I'm just a really fan of the grit that they pulled for this movie, and I could talk about this movie forever. It's a 3-hour movie, and it was originally a 4 hour. I heard Matt Reeves was talking about, and I would have sat through that no problem like 3 times. So it's so good. Also,
He's
I
not
think it's
lying.
no, it's also I think the best opener we've ever got to any Batman. It is you get to see it from the villain's perspective, which we got to see, in The Dark Knight with Joker. But this is just like if you kind of like horror in a way, there's elements of that, and it, man, I just love it.
All right, so before I do my number one, I'm gonna do my honorable mentions and run down the list. So number five, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish with that was a late entry, but credit where credit's due. Then number four, we had Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Big fan, no bias there though. That was a great movie. Even if you don't like Sonic or you don't know Sonic, you knew of the movie. So number three, Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Stupid and silly name. But if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, you're gonna love the transformations. You're gonna love what it does for the story. You're not gonna love the animation or the fact that Cell Max is back. But it was a great movie with the pacing, nonetheless, and we got to see Pan. So, and also I forgot Goten and Trunks aged. A lot of people had problems with that, but they finally aged in that movie. And then number two is Chippendale Rescue Rangers, with my honorable mentions being the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So this was a new Netflix original movie. Well, not Netflix original, but Netflix has a streaming right, so it was a Netflix movie of the rise of the TMNT. series. Everybody hated the art style initially, but like I don't know what happened in these last year and a half. But everybody suddenly loves this version now because it was more anime stylized, not the art direction, because the art direction was weird. I mean, it was creative and good, but it was like compared to like the 2003 Ninja Turtles, the 80s Turtles, the CGI Turtles from 2012, 2014, and then the Michael Bay Turtles, different look. But these characters, and they relied on more on mystical arts and ninja skills. But these turtles are by far one of the best representations of the turtles, I think, because the whole dynamic is different. Here, Leonardo is always the leader. Here, Raphael is the leader.
Yeah.
This takes place before the turtles actually get, established. So they're still learning their training. And this version of Master Splinter doesn't actually train him. He's not a failed, but he is and a retired he's Bruce Lee in that universe. He's a retired martial artist, and he got turned into a rat by like mystic stuff. So there's no ooze, at least as far as I know, because I'm still watching it myself, because I was one of those people. I don't like it. What the hell is this? And it looked different, but like looking at the choreography, the scenes and everything, the fighting is by far the best that I've seen in any iteration of the Turtles. And I love
Oh
the
wow.
2003 Ninja Turtles. I
That's a
love
take
the
right
2000,
there. That's
and
a
even the 2007 movie Ninja Turtles. I keep forgetting about them. That was a slept on one too. The choreography
Mhm.
in 2007 was great, but the Rise of the TMNT, was greater. And my second honorable mention, Wakanda Forever. Didn't see the movie, but the introduction of Neymar and Atuma alone is enough to watch this movie. And that's all I got
Man,
to say
yeah,
about
that's
that.
a great movie.
Oh yeah, my number one.
Yeah,
Speaking of
what's your
Marvel,
number one?
speaking of Marvel, Thor: Love and Thunder. Now this
Oh
was
my
yeah,
god.
this was a reluctant
That's a
pick, but
hot take, bro.
yeah, it is. This is a reluctant pick, but I thought about it.
He was just joking
Bashing
on
it yesterday, yeah.
God Butcher, yeah.
Or Gore. I didn't like
Gore,
Gore,
yeah.
but like the recent depictions of Thor that we've gotten, it is silly and comical, but after what we've seen from Endgame and Infinity War, he kind of does deserve this. He was depressed and all that, super serious. He's lost Loki. He doesn't have anybody now. So now I'm not going to spoil the movie, but he does get a companion at the end, and you see in the movie they've showed this in the trailers. We know Jane Foster becomes Thor for a brief time. I'm mad that this was a missed opportunity to show Beta Ray Bill that they teased in what was it, Ragnarok. Uh, but it is what it is. But we get to see more of what the new Asgardians are up to. We get to see a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy near the end. Uh,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
well, not near the end, near the
No,
beginning
it's in
and
the
the leaves.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah. You get
That
to see what people are up to. But then Thor sets off on his own at the end of the movie.
yeah.
And I was kind of upset because the companion he gets, I thought it was supposed to be someone else that we see. And it would also make sense as why we saw Jane Foster take up the mantle of Thor. And I thought they were going to give up the mantle of Thor, but they're not. But we got to see more of the other gods in the MCU too. I liked it. I didn't like the depiction of Zeus, but Zeus is an mythology, so I mean that kind of checks out. But I wish they would have did better there. But
Yeah, and it's a I think it's a good movie, it's just when you compare it to Ragnarok, it had a lot to go up against cuz everybody kind of has Ragnarok way up there now on their Marvel list. But yeah, great. I think it's not on my top 10, but it's a good movie. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm a huge Christian Bale fan. I think he's one of the greatest actors, and I love what he did. It's just they didn't give him enough time,
they did not.
because
Like I said, Phase 4 for me was just missed opportunities. They didn't go
right,
far
yeah,
enough, or they went in a completely different direction. And had they
yes,
just let these things cook for a little bit more time, actually thought it out, maybe had different people in there, so I'm pretty sure they show these to, reviewers and stuff before they actually release the final cut of the movie. Had they had different people or people that actually know the source material on these panels and stuff,
mm,
maybe we would have got better stuff. But,
yes, yeah,
it is
and
what it is.
I got to shout out though. Natalie Portman did great as Jane, dude. She's a great actress, and she just proves it again and
Muscular
again.
mommy.
And he's got a type. He's got a type. But I gotta say, she's really a lot of the heart of this movie. That it was very much needed. Like she's the emotional beats of the movie. And Chris Hemsworth is great as Thor, but my favorite, as many people's favorites of Thor, is the Infinity War Thor. It's just you
Yeah.
get to see him.
In game, right? Not Infinity War, right?
No, Infinity War, yeah. That's when he not Fat Thor.
I know that, but damn, I feel like he got a better, ending in Endgame than
No,
he did in
he
Infinity
got
War.
no. So for me, Infinity War was like his potential. Like it was realized finally. You get to see how powerful this guy is. He held open and got blasted by a star. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I see that.
he when he comes to Wakanda, everybody's you know
Oh,
ecstatic because
now,
yeah,
yeah.
he just kills everybody. And some of the elements of this movie that I really loved was the Guardians. I love his like interaction with the Guardians. It's always hilarious. The opening scene is honestly one of my favorite openings in Marvel recently. Because he's like
That was fucked up.
he's just wrecking their and they're like, "Oh, he's not gonna destroy the tower, is he?" And he just runs through it. Um, and some of the stuff got maybe a little too quacky. Taika Waititi, he, he's got his genre that he does. It's like odd left field humor, which he does well. Like Ragnarok, we got but sometimes I feel like he went too deep into that in this movie when we needed a little more seriousness. Um, yeah,
I will say though, it was better than what is it?
Multiverse of
Uh,
Madness.
yes.
It's by
See,
far,
I
yeah.
didn't even commit it to memory.
Multiverse of Madness, we went and seen in theaters, and it's the most disappointing Marvel movie I've ever seen, honestly, because there was so much promise and hype around this movie, and that's why the original director left because he wanted to do all those things, that we were gonna see all the different multiverses, but they have different creative differences, so he left sadly. But that's a whole different topic of discussion we'll get into. But yeah. You have anything else to say about Thor? I'm sorry I started
No,
rambling.
no, that's all I had.
One more thing about that too is a lot of people didn't like how goofy it got, and Chris Hemsworth has come out and stated that he's kind of not happy with the direction they've taken the character. So he said if he returns, it would have to be in a way serious direction, which I think would really work for his character. But all right, it's a good pick though. It's still like really fun though. Wait, one more thing. How did you like Zeus? I thought Zeus was
Like he was funny, but like him being the chief
yeah.
of all the gods there, I expected him to take his role a little bit more serious. I expected him to. I guess this is me, honestly. I expected him to have like a better physique. He
Yeah,
looked more
yeah,
like Dionysus is
yeah.
described. I expected Zeus to have this air about him, be regal. And we've seen with the deleted scenes, he could have been like that, but they took
Hmm.
those out. So
Yeah, and you know that actor is capable too because he played Gladiator and stuff like that. So, but I thought it was a funny take and
it
not
was funny,
serious.
yeah. But
Yeah,
like
and when he did his little skirt and
it's just the
he,
position they put him in. I was like, okay, well,
yeah,
why would you let
the
this guy govern you?
the stuff with the lightning rod too. He was like,
Yeah.
all right. But let me recap my top 5 movies. I about said 10, sorry. My top 5 was at 5 I had Nope. On 4 I had On the Count of 3. At 3 I had Banshees of Inisherin. And at 2 I had The Batman. Now for my honorable mentions, I got to shout out Avatar: The Way of Water. Now this movie is not a lot of people like to hate on it because of how successful the first one was. But this movie, it's kind of still has problems with the story. It's still, I think, better than the first one story wise. It does stuff that I really enjoy, like the visuals are really breathtaking. James Cameron, he's in his own lane with the way they do digital CGI stuff, and everything's basically CGI in the movie from the water, and it looks so realistic. I just got to shout that out. It didn't make my list, but I thought it was a good time. Um, let's see. Another one I mention is this movie on Apple TV. It's an original called Causeway. And I relate to this movie very heavily. So Causeway is a movie that stars Jennifer Lawrence and Brian Tyrese Henry. And basically, Jennifer Lawrence is a veteran that suffers a traumatic brain injury. um,
Why is that funny?
and no, because I relate to it, but
Oh,
she basically has to relearn everything. And for people that don't know, this past year I've been dealing with a brain injury that I received from working. So I can relate to it very heavily. She's very anxious, heavy, and has to relearn her way. And she finds a friend in Brian Tyrese Henry, and he did one of my favorite performances all year. So got to shout that out. And I think the last one that I will give a shout out to is actually Bullet Train. Have you seen this? Man, it's hilarious. It's different from any Brad Pitt movie I've seen, and it's just a great time. Again, Brian Tyrese Henry
and
is
Cosby
just
Beats was in there.
yeah, it's great to see them in a movie together, and he shows that he could be very comical too, you know. So yeah, man, I just had a great time with this. Tangerine and Lemon was definitely standouts. Did you enjoy it?
I didn't watch the movie Bullet Train. I just seen clips from TikTok.
Well, if anybody's interested in watching it, it's on Netflix. But it's a great time. It's very good, very different from anything that came out that year. It's one of the funniest ones. But yeah, one more. Elvis, not really a great movie, but I wanted to shout out Austin Butler's performance in that movie cuz man, did he commit. Like he was Elvis for that movie. So I just want to shout that out, but Tom Hanks was a joke in that movie. Yeah. And Tom Hanks is like such an acclaimed, like great actor, but he took this character, a real life character, and went into a false direction with it. You know what I mean? So, my number one. What? That's not a hot take. Everybody hates
It's
him in
not.
that
It's
movie.
just never thought you'd say Tom Hanks.
In that movie, I love Tom Hanks. I think he's a great actor. He's a little weird with like religion stuff, and he's kind of an odd person, but he's a great actor. But my number one is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, this movie, I don't I don't know where to begin, man. This is not just the best movie of this year. This is the greatest movie I've seen in my entire life. Yes.
I gotta intervene. Even better than Spider-Man because you went and seen that in theaters multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, this is on a whole different level. This beats everything, trumps everything I've ever seen. Star Wars, Spider-Man, every single movie. Like this is just I don't know. I've never related to a movie more. Which is if you've seen it, it's a weird statement to say because it's a movie of multiverses. This is like kind of like what Multiverse of Madness should have been. Like we go through all these different phases and this is way better. It's directed by the Daniels, and people might know them because they directed the "Turn Down for What" music video, and it was, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that little because we've seen the trailer for every the movie. I'm not even gonna begin because I might miss something. I'm not gonna pronounce the title, but we've seen a trailer during Multiverse of Madness. I was like, that kind of looks familiar, like the shooting
Yes,
scenes.
yes. We was like, oh, that
So
looks dope, yeah. But yeah, they're very like odd directors, and they just won two for best director of the year at the Critics Choice Awards. We'll see at the what's the Oscars, but we'll see. But anyways, man, this stars Michelle Yeoh. And this movie was like her breakout role to me. She's a great actress, but she said that nobody's ever taken her serious or given her like a serious role. So if you listen to her talk about this movie, she cries because she gets to finally act like how she wanted, and she's got a standout performance. It also stars Jamie Lee Curtis and a young actress, Stephanie Hugh, I think is how you say her name. But she's a new actress that I, man, she's the star of that movie. But really, I mean, most people know Ki Hu Kwan. He he's the
Ada.
comeback. He's like the comeback story of the year. Him and Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in the Goonies and Indiana Jones, and he didn't get to act for 30 some years because there was no opportunities for Asians. So, and it's funny because he got back into acting because of Michelle Yeoh. He went and saw Crazy Rich Asians. And, anyways, I think Ki Hu Kwan. I I thought it was Hugh, but he says Hui, I think. Um, Best performance all year. And that was something because the movies list was stacked this year, and whew, man, I've just never been so emotional about a movie. I so one thing about me is I never really cry during movies or TV because I could kind of, you know, take myself out of it and say, "Oh, this isn't real life" and stuff like that. Dude, when I tell you, the last hour or so of this movie, I cried 8 times in a row, which is astonishing. I'm not really a real emotional person, but this movie just spoke to me. And Key's performance, man, he just brought so much heart and compassion to this role, and I just don't know what to say. It's it's a phenomenal movie, and I've it's like a movie that you need in your life to like kind of reset and take you out of life. You know what I mean? Like if you're down and you're like just like everything sucks, it's like you watch this and you start, you know. I can't say enough nice things about this. I'm kind of gushing over it. It's just that's how important this movie is to me, and it's a modern classic, and it's my favorite movie of all time.
All right, now,
I'm sorry I was rambling, but I'm just
no,
this
what
movie
would
is
you?
just whoa.
I don't
One
know.
more thing, they didn't have like a big budget for this movie because it is so wild. Um and it was like 5 people that did all the visual effects, which if you've seen this movie, you know how insane that is. And these people aren't like high class like people that do visual effects. They're just like their friends that they got to do it and they learned as they were going. And the visual effects are something else in this movie. And yeah, man, it's it's a
I will
beautiful,
say it's
beautiful movie.
probably better to have like a smaller team though, because everybody can be on the same page.
Hmm.
There's less stuff that gets lost through translation, and I don't mean translation as obviously literal being different languages, but I mean as you keep, it's like the telephone game. You keep saying one thing in in English, it gets diluted over time. So having a smaller team will probably be easier, but also difficult in terms of like the workload. But like
Right, yeah.
what you
And
visually play out, probably a smaller team would be better.
right. Yeah, and they was all really close while making this movie. And I got to say it's great to see like Asian Americans get more opportunities and more serious roles, and cuz this follows like a family, of foreigners that come here, and it's very beautiful.
Well, on to the recommendations.
You want me to recommend first, or
Yeah, I'll let you go first. 'Cause I went.
obviously I'm just gonna recommend you the movie I just said, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I feel
Now,
like this is a movie everybody should watch at least once in their lifetime. Yeah.
now, is it on any streaming platforms, or is this like
So
one I have to
yes,
go out and get
I
the disc?
no, so it's on Showtime. This isn't for you. I have you covered, okay? But for people that have Showtime, it's on Showtime for streaming, and you can also rent it, I think, on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. But for Kindle, I actually have the Blu-ray and digital disc for him to watch.
Oh
Uh,
my god.
and if you know me, I don't really buy DVDs or movies anymore, but this is how important this movie is to me. I just wanted to see all of the bonus scenes and behind the scenes dialogue and stuff like that.
There's commentary then, right?
Yes, there's commentary.
Okay. Look, I'm
So,
not as big as a film buff as Matthew here, but like as a kid, I used to just sit in the special features. I'd watch the movie obviously one time, but then I'd immediately go to the special features and go to and look at the commentary. Now, sometimes there would be commentary from the directors, the people that wrote the movie, and then sometimes there would be commentary for the actors. I used to do this for like Spider-Man,
yeah, Spider-Man 3 I
smaller
did that,
movies
yeah.
too.
Yep.
Like Adam Sandler movies and stuff like that. If there was commentary, but like mainly animated stuff because I like to know how things worked. I really want to get into animation and stuff like that. So like the main thing I would do is go into
Yes.
special features. I
I'm the
look up
same
deleted
way.
scenes, the how they made it, the bonus shorts if there was bonus shorts, and then commentary.
Yes. And I'm not recommending this to Kindle just because it's my favorite thing that I'm pushing onto him. Really think he will enjoy it because it is it's dramatic, but it's also the I think the funniest movie I watched all year. It's just so outrageously hilarious, and there's a lot of choreography that reminds me of Jackie Chan. Like they're
Yeah, that's a
fight
bold statement.
exactly. They're fighting with like you know how Jackie is very physical. Yeah,
Improvisational,
and he
improv.
fought
I'll just
he
say.
fights with his surroundings like ladders and chairs and stuff like that. And there's a scene in here where Wayman, Ki Hu Kwan's character, he fights with a fanny pack, and it's just like Jackie Chan, you know. So I really think you will enjoy this movie, and you got to watch it now. I got the DVD.
All right. Yeah, we already did TV show, so yeah.
All right, yeah. What is your recommendation for me, sir?
So I honestly don't know what to recommend you because you already said my initial one was Chippendale Rescue Rangers, but you said that was in your list already.
But
So
yeah.
I'll probably just recommend because you probably haven't watched it at all either. Netflix, Rise of the TMNT,
Mm,
the
okay.
movie. It'll say the movie that'll differentiate from the series and the movie. So that one, and you'll know it because it'll have weird designs. It'll look like turtles you haven't seen before. Because like I said, these designs are out there. But I'm hoping once you see this movie, because I watched it twice, I loved it that much.
Oh wow. Okay.
Once you see this movie you understand what I mean about the choreography, the designs of the turtles, and even the writing. And like you said, you like Raphael the best.
Yeah,
So
he's my favorite.
yeah, he's the leader this time around.
Oh yeah, that's
So
for me
I
then.
will say though, this movie, they kind of make because Leonardo obviously in every iteration Leonardo becomes the leader anyway.
Hmm.
Some part is time travel, so in the future he is the leader, but right now, as of now, or when it takes place, Raphael is the leader. So you'll like that.
Dude, I'm gonna love that. And yeah, I've been meaning to get back into Teenage Mutant Turtles again. I haven't really picked them up since high school or something, but I'm excited because there's a lot of new material coming out with them, you know.
Right.
And it's on Netflix, right?
Netflix. I
Netflix.
mean, it
Well,
could be on Paramount Plus, but I remember it being advertised specifically for Netflix. But Paramount owns the Turtles, obviously, because it's Viacom. You can watch the series if you love the movie that much. You can watch the series Rise of the TMNT on Paramount Plus or Netflix. I think Netflix still only has like a select bit of episodes, whereas Paramount Plus has them all.
hmm. Well, that's a good pick, and I plan on watching Chip and Dale as well. So I'll probably let you know how I feel about both of them. And just a reminder for everybody: with these recommendations we're giving each other, um, we're gonna be discussing them in a future episode. We don't really know when yet, but we got to have time to really digest what we suggest each other, and we're
Right.
gonna have discussions about it, like what we like and what we thought about it overall. You know.
And also, if you have suggestions, and we actually, because we will read, your comments and stuff, your emails and stuff like that. If you send us something, give us a bit of time because, like I said, we're gonna do or like he said, we're gonna do these in episodes. But like getting to you guys' recommendations, we'll either make like a separate episode, totally just going over you guys' recommendations.
Hmm.
But keep in mind, we'll get to them when we can. If we do get like a lot of requests, I don't expect us to get like a lot now because we're just now starting out. But if you do, just be aware it's not going to be the next episode you hear because we film these
Right.
or
Right.
record these in
Yeah.
batches. So just give it time and we'll get to them.
Yes. And you could send those recommendation to us on email. We're at mediabuffetpod@gmail.com. And we like he said, we'll get back to you, but we might need a little time. But I think that kind of concludes this episode.
Yeah, it was another long episode.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for listening. If you got this far and listened to us ramble, especially me, I rambled a lot this episode, but I'm very just passionate about movies and film. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you got anything to say, Mr. Kendall?
No, just thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with our silly antics. Spread the word. Share the podcast if you're listening. Uh, you know, we'll probably be on most streaming platforms and stuff like that where you get your podcasts.
Hmm.
So just spread the word. It's very much
Yes.
appreciated. Leave a
And it
review.
yes, if you, that's a big thing for people that have podcasts. If you could leave us a review or a comment or like, it helps other people find us. And yeah, and you could also watch us on YouTube at Media Buffet Pod, and all of our socials as well is at Media Buffet Pod. So thanks again for tuning in to this very lengthy episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.